KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Or just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does a Positrack rear end on a Plymouth work? It just does.
Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, along with Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West, Mindy on the other side of the glass, and Larry Unger from Larry's Automotive and Transmission, of course, are all with us. Good morning, Dorsey.
Morning.
I could talk to Larry and say good morning, too. He's got a mic on that side. He just never uses it very much.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Good morning, guys.
There we go. That's better. And good morning, Mindy. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. It's an absolutely gorgeous-looking Saturday morning in Colorado. A little chilly this morning. A little frosty this morning.
Yeah.
It's like at your place.
22 degrees.
A little icy in spots around my place. We got a little bit of moisture late last night. I don't know what it was like everywhere else around town.
Yeah, but had kind of heavy frost on the deck and stuff.
I had actual water that froze last night. When we came home, we went to
my dog's bucket froze.
Yeah, we went to the Life Choices event last night, and so we got home about, 10:15 or so. And it was like, what, did it snow or what did, there was water all over. And, of course, all that froze this morning early. So, winter's coming.
It's on the way.
It is coming actually this week, and we got a little bit of weather this past week. There's another storm coming Tuesday night. Might be an actual plowable storm this week. We'll see what happens. So today we're going to talk about, we'll start off with, and I'll finish this more in the 11 o'clock hour just because we want to make sure that our Sunday guests that tune in on Sunday and listen to the 11 and 12 o'clock hours could hear this, but we're going to talk about what happens when the chain law is actually in effect in Colorado. What does that mean? Because it's different this year than what it's been in the past. So I'll hold some of that until 11 o'clock so our guests on, or I should say our listeners on Sunday can actually hear that. So we'll do that here in just a little bit. So stay tuned. All right. We've got a lot of other things in store. So bad tires. This is one thing I will mention. So Larry handed me this first thing this morning. And by the way, lines are open. If you want to call in, let us talk to you right now, 303-477-5600. Getting a message as we speak from Scott Watley, which I think he's on remote right after we get off air today. So, yes, he will be at No Limits Archery. The event starts at 11 a.m., runs till 6 p.m. tonight. And it says, come have lunch on us. So, Dan, you are my partner on the weekday show. If you're listening, you can go get free lunch. We're always ribbing Dan because he loves to eat. I mean, just like loves to eat. So, Dan, you can go have lunch, or actually, Doris, Larry, on your way home, stop by No Limits and have lunch on them. And for those of you that are bow hunters out there, they have 2 bows to give away. So you got to go in there and register and do all that. Of course, say hi to Scott, but it's a new location, 3050 East 78th Avenue in Denver. So stop by, say hi to Scott and the guys. And we'll talk more about that as we get through the show. Scott will probably be, on air with us the latter part of the show today. Let us know exactly what's going on. But No Limits Archery. In fact, I think they actually filled in for Scott a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. If I'm right on that. So, also, we'll recap a little bit of the SEMA show today. Was out there this past week. And what I will tell you is, how do I want to say this in a nice way? There were way too many people there on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So many so that you couldn't hardly, Dorsey, walk through the aisles.
Really?
It was like a shopping mall at Christmas.
They were supposed to have a whole new physical setup for the show, too, the way they set it up.
Changed. They changed where all the new products were. They changed, had some additional outside displays. Let's just say that it was ridiculously busy.
Yeah.
No offense, busier than what I would like, because when it gets that busy, you really can't even stop and look and talk and do the things you normally would want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the downside to when it's that busy. Now, the good thing is, I guess that means there's means economy's probably going fairly well in the automotive world.
Yeah.
That's the good thing. It's good for you and I.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys in the specialty side getting busier.
So anyways, it was interesting. We'll talk some about that today as we go through the day. We'll talk about bad tires and how they could cost you $500 here in just a little bit. Jerry, though, in Greeley has a question for us, and we always take your calls first. So get us a call, 303-477-5600. Jerry, welcome. What's going on today?
Well, I've got an electrical problem with my 98 Mitsubishi Montero Sport.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's related, but I had a bad leak around the sunroof. And right after that happened is when my battery started dying on the Montero. I was just wondering if you had any general guidelines for how to start troubleshooting.
You mean like your battery will go dead overnight or over a period of time while the car's sitting?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first thing to do on that is measure it for a drain on the battery, for an amp drain. With the car shut off and everything, all the keys out of it and stuff, and see what kind of a drain it's got. And that kind of tells you whether you're looking at switches, bulbs, different items like that.
Okay. Yesterday I had this idea that I was going to pull all the fuses and then read between, pull the clamps off the battery and read between the negative, pull the negative clamp off and read between the negative clamp and the post.
Yeah.
Start putting them back in one at a time.
Right.
Do you have an amp meter you can read that with?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But when I was messing with those fuses, I had two of them that wouldn't come out. Yeah, there was a 100 amp fuse, and it's
those are the maxi fuses. They probably have a small screw or bolt holding them in down below.
Really? Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, and then there was a 60 amp fuse on the back side of the hot clamp for ABS, and I couldn't get that one loose either. But.
Yeah, a lot of those on the pegs on the legs of the fuse, they have like a horseshoe shape, and they're screwed in at the bottom.
All right. Well, thank you for explaining that.
Do you think, and this is a question I've got for you, Dorsey, on behalf of Jerry, do you think the sunroof being down, any water coming in, could have had an effect on that?
It's quite possible.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Because there's little switches and motors up there, and you get.
How much water, Jerry, do you think you ended up with?
Boy, it was pretty bad in a rainstorm.
Yeah, that could very easily be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And this is just rule of thumb for everybody else out there listening. That's why you can see, Jerry, on your end, why you don't buy flood damaged vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the case in point, right? And there's a bunch of those that are going to be still filtering through the market. We just had a bunch of flooding going on the East Coast not more than a month ago, or not less than a month ago, I should say.
It's in Texas.
Exactly. So those vehicles, believe it or not, will work their way out of those areas back to the west, just because they try to get them as far away from those areas as possible to get them sold. And so buyer beware on that. And Jerry, you're experiencing some of that firsthand, not from a flooded vehicle, but just from your own experience.
Water damage, yeah.
Yep.
Can I also bother you with a quick octane question?
As beautiful as the day is today, I'm guessing you could probably hang out for about 15 minutes if you wanted to, because I'm guessing there's a lot of people out enjoying the Saturday. So you do whatever you want to do, Jerry.
Okay. Do I remember correctly? It seems like from hearing you on the air before that in general that you've recommended that octane's not so critical as maybe the glove box manual might make out.
Well, what you have to do is, if the glove box manual says 87, for example, at our altitude, that means 85 is sufficient. Okay. Or if it says 91, 87 is sufficient. So you can always drop down 2 notches on the octane number based upon what your owner's manual says here in Colorado. So, for example, if it says 93, our 91, high octane premium fuel is sufficient.
Okay. So, and that wouldn't much matter even if you were driving up high in the mountains?
Nope. In fact, the higher up you get, the less octane you need.
Okay.
And make sure your manual's suggesting an octane and not not saying premium fuel or mid-grade. If your owner's manual only says premium fuel and they're not designating octane, you probably ought to use premium fuel.
Correct. And there are some vehicles out there that have superchargers, turbochargers, higher compression engines. Some of the newer vehicles now are coming with up to 14-to-1 compression engines in them. In those cases, they may very well say use a premium grade fuel, or premium fuel, not grade, but premium octane fuel. In that case, R91 is what you'd need to run. Okay. Now, as far as everyday normal use, you're talking to a fleet owner running, 60 plus trucks on a regular basis, and I don't buy anything other than just the standard, in our case, 85 octane fuel, or 87 octane fuel, I should say, is what we run 85 actually, lowest grade. Now I run a high grade fuel, but the lowest octane.
All right.
Okay. So this is a great question. I want to make sure we give everybody all the right information, because it's a great question you just asked, Jerry. It applies to a lot of other people out there listening. I get this question even emailed on a pretty routine basis.
Yeah, fuel you're running at the lowest octane still has a good ad pack.
That's exactly right. So that top tier rating that you get on fuel is still very important, and there is a quality difference. So as you're driving around town and you're looking at pump prices and you roll by the local King Supers, I happen to pass one every day on the way to the station down here, and it's always going to be 3, 4, 5 cents a gallon less than the other stations around are going to be. That's because it does not have the top tier rating, and it doesn't have the same ad pack in the fuel that you're going to get at your top tier fuel stations.
And I know you've said it over and over, but who are those generally?
You know what? I've got the list. Hang on, let me get back to my notes, and I can grab it for you real quick. In Colorado now, it is Conoco, Costco, Diamond Shamrock, Phillips 66, Shell, Sinclair, Suncor, and Valero. So really, in our state, everything except for the 7-Eleven, Safeways, King Supers, and like Loaf and Jugs and some of those, if it's a name brand fuel station, even some of the King Supers, if there's a Shell station attached, okay, that's going to be top tier. But if it's strictly a King Supers, King Supers own station, not run by Shell, then it's going to be the lower grade fuel.
Is it Lafayette that King Supers is hooked up with Shell?
Yeah, I believe that one's a standalone also. Well,
there's a Shell station close by that will honor your King Supers.
Correct, points. And a lot of them will do that.
Yeah,
that's right. So you can find, that's really interesting, Dorsey. You just brought up a great point. Sometimes you'll have a Safeway or Safeway or a King Supers, and there'll be a Shell station or a Conoco even that's nearby, and some of those stations will honor your reward points even though they're not necessarily directly attached to that particular grocery store. And those you just have to look and find. I don't know of any list out there. You just have to be aware of it when you pull up to the pump.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome, Jerry. Anything else?
Yeah. Do we have just a minute for me to revisit something I brought up on an earlier show?
Of course.
I think you were out of town, John, but I called in some weeks ago asking for advice about, I was trying to find the exact law relative to using the unmarked crossovers between divided highways. And I called several law enforcement agencies and prosecuting attorneys, and it was quite an ordeal, but I finally got an answer and found the exact state, the reference in the state model traffic code.
Okay.
And what it boils down to is what a caller had sent in, had offered later in the show, that those are put in for the purpose of allowing people to cross over, make a U-turn, essentially, from one side of the divided highway to the other. But it's incumbent upon the person doing that to make sure they don't pull out in front of somebody going the other way, of course,
right.
Cut them off short. And then it's incumbent upon everybody following everybody else, not to follow too closely and to be ready for unanticipated stops.
Got it. So when it says emergency vehicles only, I'm assuming you can get a ticket if you use that to make a U-turn.
Right. I'm talking about the ones that aren't marked that way.
Got it. Okay. So the unmarked ones, I think you're right on that. You can use it, but you've got to really be careful that nobody behind you is going to run into you, or that they're not, following closely enough to run into, in other words, if you're the guy behind, make sure you're not hitting the guy in front of you. And when you merge back into traffic, be really careful.
Yeah, the guy behind, he's got to watch out,
Yep.
Just the same as if
That's
you're
right.
slowing to make a left turn on certain highways.
That's right.
Or a deer ran out in front of you
That's
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, good. That's a good one. Yeah, good tip on that, Jerry.
Well, thank you,
You
gentlemen.
betcha. Appreciate it very much. Terry in Fort Collins, hang tight. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. You've got some performance upgrade question on your Hummer H3. We'll be back and answer that. Don't go away. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and
Hey, John, were you getting any feedback on the... They were good. Okay.
well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important this time of year is to clean, flush, and put new antifreeze in the cooling system. As a general rule of thumb, this should be done every 2 years. It's an easy job, so pop the hood yourself. Or take your car to a Colorado Select Car Care Center, and they'll do it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, providing exceptional customer service with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we won't try to impress you with a waiting room with a big screen TV and lattes. What we will do is give you good service and expert repair. We pride ourselves in being interested in you and your vehicle. We stand behind our work with the power of Napa Auto Care and a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty. And if needed, we do have a customer waiting area. Come see us at Arvada West Auto for all your repair needs. We are located at 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or call 303-422-1065 for an appointment.
Your car's fuel economy was never better than when it was new. But time and miles have robbed your car of its MPG and performance. Service managers recommend BG44K to remove carbon and restore mileage in just 1 tank of fuel. In fact, dealerships nationwide use BG44K almost 3-to-1 over any other product. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com.
BG.
Can you imagine selling your car next week and saying to the buyer, hey, don't worry, because the engine is covered against failure for life. It's called the Lifetime Protection Plan for the Engine from BG Products. Now imagine having this huge benefit free with your next oil service when you remember these 2 letters, BG. BGMOA is available at over 20,000 shops nationwide. Find yours at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
BG.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive,
About 15 seconds, guys.
do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, and we were just talking through the break, looking at this great view here. And if it wasn't for this view, this would really stink on Saturdays, Dorsey. At least we can look out the window and see how nice it is outside. We may not be out there enjoying it, but at least we can see what it's like, right?
Yeah, we don't have to have a phony picture of the landscape.
That's exactly. Now, the downside is Dan was making fun of me yesterday. He's like, you get off Drive Radio about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's almost dark by then. I said, well, yeah, you got a point there. No, not really. I mean, you've got a few more hours after that. But all right, let's go to Terry, who is next. Terry, welcome to Drive Radio.
Good morning. Nice talking to you, John and Dorsey.
Likewise.
I had a question for you.
Well, let's hear it.
I have a Hummer with a 5-cylinder motor in it.
Okay.
The
inline 5.
Yeah, the inline 5.
Got it.
If I want to get a little bit more fuel economy or something out of it, I'm thinking K&N, maybe one of those, the whole thing.
Yeah, cold air intake.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, what I know is that is a underpowered vehicle from the get-go, which you already know that, or you wouldn't be calling us and asking.
Right.
I'm looking. I'm going to look. Have you looked to see if they actually make one for that? What year is yours?
Yeah, it's an 08.
An 08. Let me look real quick and make sure.
Yeah, they have them. They make an intake for
They
it.
do show an intake kit for it. Okay. Yeah.
That's the Colorado engine, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And it sucks in that vehicle.
Yeah, what?
What he says, it sucks in that vehicle. In other words, it's really underpowered in that vehicle.
Okay. You tell me something I don't know, right?
So what is that, a 3.5 liter?
I think so. I think so, yeah.
Which I believe was if I'm not mistaken, is that the smallest engine, or is you sure is it a 3.5 or a 3.7? It's a 3.7. It's a 3.7. So that's a 3.7 liter. They do show a cold air intake for that at an estimated.
Make 5 more horsepower or something.
Actually, the one I'm showing says 10.97 horsepower.
Okay. Now my next question is, will a chip do any help? Computer chip?
Slightly. What you find mostly that the programmers do, and I sold them for years and years and years, and in those years, you could see some decent increases in the 2008 model years, mainly because the programming wasn't as sophisticated as what it is today. The computers weren't as fast and so on. The biggest thing, though, that you'll notice is, A, you can adjust for tire size, so which means you can calibrate the speedo. B, you can adjust shift points, which actually will make it, not necessarily have more power, but use the power you have more effectively.
Right.
Okay.
So you do that along with the cold air intake. It's not a bad deal. Now, what I would advise you to do, though, before you do that, call K&N on the phone, talk to their tech guys, and ask them, if I put on this cold air intake, would you recommend me doing a downloader, or should I just put the intake on by itself? They'll tell you what will work best.
Okay.
Because and the reason I say that is in some cases, the downloaders actually will counteract what you just did with the cold air intake, and you won't notice any gains. You're just spending money you don't need to.
Okay. So is there a better chip out there than any other chip?
I like the flash packs that come out by Super Chips. I think it's some of the best product on the market. I think they've got the lead when it comes to, it's a company owned by MSD that's been around forever. They bought Super Chips a number of years ago, and they've just continued to refine their product. And every year, just came back from SEMA, and every year they just get better and better and better. And I think, personally, and I think Dorsey would agree with me on this, they've just got the best R&D. It's sort of like K&N. They've got they're the largest. They've got the most R&D going into it. And I just think it's one of the best products out.
So my next question is, how about exhaust?
Again, talk to K&N.
Yeah.
Because they will have run tests on all of that to know whether their intake works good with a programmer and exhaust. Are you better off just doing the cold air intake by itself? I've never done much with those inline 6 or the inline 5s on those particular vehicles on a personal basis. Just never had very many customers that owned them. Most of the ones we had 5.3s in them. So I never did a whole lot with those. Even back in those years, I just didn't do much with those because there wasn't many of them around.
Right. I didn't know if like a catback exhaust would help, or
typically in our altitude, anything you can do to get more air in and more air out is going to give you more power. I say that to say this: check with K&N, because they've got the dyno, they've done real world testing, they know the true numbers of what's actually happening versus what somebody out there may just tell you. And seat of the pants, believe it or not, is never a great indicator, because a lot of guys will put exhaust on, they get louder, it sounds like you're going faster. The reality is it's no faster than it was before.
I don't want louder.
And you will get louder if you do catback exhaust.
Okay.
And that's why I say a lot of times it's deceptive, because a guy will think, wow, I've got all this noise, so I'm definitely making, more power, when the reality is they may not be.
Well, noise was pretty popular in the 60s, but
Well, with some of today's crowd, it still is, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I know it is.
Tuner crowd.
Yeah, it still is. And some guys, I don't mind, even at my age, I don't like the obnoxiously loud sound, but nice little tone isn't bad. Now, that particular engine is tough to get a good sound quality out of because of the way it's designed.
Yeah, it might sound like a tuner when you're done.
Right. It will not have a throaty V8 sound to it when you're done.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks for your time.
You're very welcome, Terry. Thank you for calling. We appreciate it very much. You bet.
Okay.
Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the great weather we have going on. Arnie, you are next. We've got some lines open, 303-477-5600. Arnie, what's going on, sir?
Well, I always ask you about taking, car problems, but this is a traffic question because you were answering a traffic question a little bit ago.
No problem. We can handle that too.
I run across an intersection fairly frequently where it's a one-way street crossing a one-way street, and people not infrequently do lefts on red from the one-way to the one-way, and they do it 2 lanes wide.
I don't think. Okay, so let me make sure that so let's say, for example, I have to visualize this. So I'm going down the one way. I come to another one way that must be heading to my left. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So then they're turning left on a red out of both lanes into that. I don't believe that that's legal. I think only the inside lane is legal.
You can do one unless otherwise posted.
Correct.
Okay.
So that outside lane that they're using, that's if there was a policeman behind them, they're going to get a ticket for that, unless it specifically says they can.
The reason it's of interest to me is because I cross this intersection, probably once a week, and there's never traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's never cross traffic. So I'm sitting there waiting for a computer to tell the light to change.
Right.
And it's kind of irritating. And then here's these guys that just going, and I'm thinking, I wonder if you can really do this.
No, if they're in the inside lane, legally they can. It's just like turning right on a red. It's the same rule going to the left. Okay. But the same rule would apply if they were turning to the right on a red. That outside lane cannot make that right turn unless it specifically says. Now there are some intersections where it'll say you can turn right on, out of both lanes if you stay in your lane, but those are specifically posted.
Yep. Okay.
That's a great question, by the way.
Well, I'd never run across it until recent years when.
I'm surprised. Speaking along these lines, Arnie, I'm surprised at how many people today don't know traffic laws. I.e., what do you do when you come to a 4-way stop?
Yeah, and that's also an issue at an intersection that I deal with. I mean, it's an issue because people are kind of doing whatever.
Well, what always drives me nuts when I get up to just since we're on this subject, I'll finish. As we get to a 4-way stop, what drives me nuts are the really nice, polite people that probably are just clueless as to how a 4-way stop works, that are always directing everybody else on what to do when they should be the ones actually going.
Bad news.
It's like, wait a minute, time out. It's your turn. Don't tell me to go. You're the one that was there first. You should be moving. I know what I'm supposed to do. You just handle your car.
Well, see, I'm of course ancient, and it was always right hand right away.
Yep.
In other words, if you kind of get there at the same time, the guy on the right has the right.
That's exactly right, and that is the rule, by the way. That's still a law. That's the way it works.
And then the cross people, same direction you're going.
You can still go also.
Who may be wanting to make a left turn.
Now,
and maybe they arrived there first before you did.
Then they have the right of way to turn left first.
It's kind of a courtesy thing.
Arnie, really, everything you're saying, it's common sense. It's like, wait a minute, time out. If we go to 4-way stop and the guy coming at me is going to turn left in front of me and he was there even 2 seconds before me, guess what? I don't care if I'm turning right, left, straight, whatever. He's got the right of way. He's going to be able to turn first.
And if he goes straight,
then you can go straight.
You got to go straight.
That's right.
Just wasting time.
That's right. That just keeps the traffic flow going. Yeah. If you say you were the last one to pull up, but that guy's coming straight, if he just is entering the intersection, you've got the freedom at that point legally to go ahead and go through to keep traffic moving, even though you may have been the last one to show up at the four-way stop.
That's the idea.
That's how it works. You and I are on the same page. The problem is, I don't think you and I enter those intersections very often because I get there and half the people don't know what they're supposed to do.
Well, you sure have to watch out.
Oh, wow. Do you ever? Do you ever? Yeah. And here's the other one. So there's one more on that four-way stop that also works is if you get up there and you're last, but the other guy in front of you is actually making a right turn and he was there first, well, guess what? You both can go right at the same time, providing the guy to your left doesn't have the right of way to go straight through the intersection.
Oh, is that right? Oh, well.
There's all sorts of little hidden things on four-way stops. Again, it's just common sense, really, is what it boils down to. But it never fails. I've got one every morning I go to on my way to work. Every time I'm there, it's like there's always somebody who wants to direct somebody else on what to do, and it's like you're the one directing, but really, I just watched it. You should be going now.
And it's 7:30, and it's busier than heck.
That's right. You got it.
Packed up all directions.
Arnie, good stuff.
Thanks.
Hey, you bet very much. Appreciate the call. And by the way, if you've got another traffic tip or question or something you want to add, we'll take anything on Drive Radio. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's car related, sometimes even not related, we'll take your calls. We don't care. 303-477-5600. We've got lines open. Give us a call. We'll get right to it as soon as we come back. Don't go away. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
Life has consequences, and a consequence of a poorly maintained fleet of work vehicles is the unfortunate timing of a breakdown. Your customers are counting on you, and one breakdown could be a deal breaker for the customer your driver was trying to reach. Maybe that customer has clients of his own who are demanding an explanation, and so on. How long do you expect to be in business when your customers think you are unreliable? Your solution? Tilden Total Car Care. Using state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet, Tilden can actually anticipate maintenance items before they become major repairs or ultimately breakdowns. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden Total Car Care today and ask about their fleet maintenance program. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can, as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Inglewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora.
John Rush here. I want to talk to you about your pets. I know it's a little weird on Drive Radio to talk about pets, but it's something that a lot of us have. Pets. I have one. I brought a couple of gentlemen along with me today that also have pets. So David and Dan.
Hey, John.
Dan,
Hiya,
first of all, what kind of a pet do you have?
I've got a Shih Tzu.
Okay.
Little black Shih Tzu.
Okay. David, you.
I have a 3.5-year-old Alaskan Malamute.
So question I have for you two guys is, are they a part of the family?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my gosh. Kona is like blood.
Okay. So if something happens to them, making sure they have proper care is like of the utmost, I'm guessing?
Oh, it's very, very important. Money's usually no object.
Okay, so I have a great place you guys can actually take your pets to get them taken care of. It's the Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center. It's owned by Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle. They're longtime supporters of Drive Radio. And not only do they want to make sure that your pets get taken care of, but they've also got a full showroom of goodies. So if you need anything for your pet, they've got prescription dog food. They've got a full pet grooming facility, pet training. So if you've got a puppy or maybe even an older dog that you need to have some training done on, this is a one-stop shop. And guys, you probably know this as well as I. When you walk into most veterinarian clinics, what do they smell like?
Ooh, not good. Like animals.
You get my drift.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
When you walk in here into Lone Tree Veterinarian Clinic, it is not that way at all. It smells like a really professional, just like any doctor's office you would walk into. That's the way this thing works. So I would encourage you guys, use them. It's Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle. Their phone number, 303-708-8050. You can find them at lonetreevet.com.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years...
About 10 seconds, guys.
Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
All right, John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Arvada West, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. We've got some lines open. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And if you're traveling up to Boulder to watch the CU Stanford game, have fun. I'm supposed to be there right now, but as you can tell,
you're not.
I'm not. So, honey, have fun. She's sitting by herself. I heard that on the way out of the door this morning.
I'll be sitting by myself.
She said, I'll be by myself. I said, well, have fun. You'll have more room that way. They're compact seats. You get more room that way. So anyways, enjoy the game today. If you guys are heading up that way, as I was coming down 36, coming to the station, all of the team buses with all of the police escorts were heading to Boulder. And I'm thinking the people behind them weren't super happy because they weren't letting anybody pass the buses. So traffic was a little bit clogged up heading west, but all that I'm sure is gone by now. But be careful going into Boulder if you are. Enjoy the day. It's an absolutely beautiful day for a game, so have a great time. Randy, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Yes, sir. Got some more questions for you guys about that Suzuki SX4.
Sure.
It seems it doesn't start immediately like my old Toyota did, and I just wondered if there's anything else that I can do besides just switching out the spark plugs. I'm not real familiar with this car, and I don't know if there's any way to adjust the timing, and it's got those individual coil things on the plugs.
Coil packs, they call them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all I've done so far is change the spark plugs.
How long is it taken for it to actually start? Walk us through that process.
Oh, just, like a few cranks, whereas my old Toyota was like immediately fire up, And
well, keep in mind on the later model vehicles, doesn't matter whether you're talking your Suzuki or a Chevrolet or even a new Toyota, the new vehicles, and Dorsey can attest this or even talk to it better than I can, but there's a certain amount of revolutions that the engine has, or that the computer system has to see the engine make before it will actually allow it to start. So a lot of the newer vehicles will not just start on an immediate bump. Now, there are exceptions to that. The new vehicles that have start-stop technology, once the initial starting process has taken place, you put it in drive and you start to go. If you then hit the brake hard enough and you're stopped long enough, the engine shuts off. It starts again immediately when you release the pedal. But that's a whole different system, whole different array of things that are going on. That's different than what's happening on your Suzuki. So in other words, you may have to see 3 to 4 revolutions of the engine itself before it'll actually say, okay, I'm ready to start now.
Well, this is typical in the morning. I leave about 6:15, and it's a little sluggish initially. I leave home, I drive about 3/4 of a mile down, and stop at 7-Eleven, get a cup of coffee, get back in the car, and it fires up in about half the time it initially took sitting in the driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Now, how old was your Toyota?
Oh, that was 18 years old. It was a 97.
Totally different technology, and that one would have started the same every single time you got in it. The new vehicles, even some of these new ones that I drive right now, I'm driving a new Lexus ES 350 this week, and even that vehicle, first thing in the morning, is going to require several revolutions to get started. Once it's warmed up, not so much, but initially it does.
Okay, well, I'm just getting to learn this car, and I've been driving older cars for a long time, so this is all new to me. Yeah. And one other question. Before I ask my last question, you guys were talking about the four-way stops and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to add to that. Have you ever been like at a shopping center, like in Arvada at the Lowe's? Okay, so I want to go across 55th there, and okay, I've got a stop sign. The other side's got a stop sign. The people turning off of Wadsworth, they don't have to stop.
Right, but they do.
Where every single time somebody will stop and motion me across, I'm like, Are you crazy?
I had several. I had another intersection. Can't remember where I was at this past week. I think it was when we were driving around Las Vegas. There was an intersection in Las Vegas the same way where wife and I were trying to cross it, and everybody's stopping, and I'm thinking, this isn't a four-way stop, folks. Keep driving. I'll go, and it's my turn.
I'm afraid to go because somebody coming from the
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So while we're talking about that, here's another one that gets me. So Parker Road out here in front of the station at night as I'm leaving. There is a set of apartment buildings just to the south of the station here that if you're coming north on Parker Road and you're going to turn left, you've got to cross 4 lanes of traffic to actually get across to these apartments. And these knuckleheads will actually weave their way through that stopped traffic when all the cars are stopped, yet every lane may not be fully stopped. And I'm thinking, man, you are an idiot. You are going to get smacked by somebody on that inside lane that doesn't know you're making that turn. And, and in turn, maybe I'm doing this the wrong way or I'm a jerk, but I won't let them in because I'm always afraid if they get across or they're going to cause an accident, then I'm really stuck.
Well, I don't know what's going on. It seems to be our whole society, in general. And I'll tell you, I'm glad that I'm as old as I am because I do not want to be here 30 years from now.
Oh, man, you and me both. You and I are on the same page that way.
So my last question is, I've never had a vehicle with ABS on it before.
Okay.
Can I still flush the brake fluid just like I did with my non-ABS brake system?
Depends on the vehicle.
Oh.
And I mean that sincerely. Yeah. Some vehicles, if you flush it, require an OEM scan tool or an equivalent to that to be able to cycle the ABS system to get all of the air out of it. You have to be really careful on some of the new vehicles when you go to do a brake fluid flush because it's not as easy as it was on your old Toyota.
Well, how can I make sure that I don't cause any more problems on the Suzuki's or someplace?
That's one of those where you're in Thornton. Give Dorsey a call over at Arvada West, before you get ready to do that, and he could look some things up that way and have a better hand on what's going on that way.
Actually, the car is going to be in his shop not this Monday, but the following Monday. I'm having a whole bunch of front suspension.
There you go then. Perfect. And if it needs flush, it's a great time for him to just do it while it's there.
I might just go ahead and do that. That'd be easier.
That's the easiest way to do it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
You betcha, Randy. Appreciate it very much. So,
a lot of these newer cars, John, you go back 18 years, his Toyota had a circulatory fuel system, and it pumped up fuel a lot faster, and it held pressure more.
Yep.
Now you got a returnless system. When the sensor sees the key off, pressure's down.
Releases all the pressure.
Releases it. So it's got to come from the tank to go to the motor again.
Well, and then a certain amount of vehicles, and each one is different. Each system's a little different. Dorsey, you know this better than I. But there's a lot of those systems, too, to where it has to see a certain amount of full revolutions before it will actually say, okay, hey, we're ready to start now. Let's ignite fuel. Let's make this happen, and away we go.
It wants to see 6 or 7 input signals before it outputs either injector, pulse, or spark.
Got it.
So
yep. So the days of just hopping in, hitting it, and having it fire right up.
Yeah.
Now, again, the start-stop technology, totally different, but that's, again, and everything's programmed for that. The vehicle knows, wait a minute, the key's on. I've already been running. This thing's in drive. It just stopped, momentarily while I was at this stoplight. As soon as he releases the brake pedal, I'm going to fire up again. Totally different scenario there.
Yeah, those are the weird ones to drive.
They are a little bit different.
You'll think, hey, what happened there?
Why'd this just die? Well, it's supposed to, dummy. Anyways, we'll be right back. Don't go away. We've got another quick break coming up. We'll take some calls right after that. Lines are open. Let's keep Larry busy. We've got plenty of time to talk to you. 303-477-5600. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your car has up to 24 different onboard computers, making repairs more complicated than ever. Without the right tools, some of these repairs are nearly impossible. Once again, Extreme Auto Repair in Parker has gone to the extreme for you. Extreme owner Dennis Brewster invested in the very same scanning tools the dealerships use. This is important because by using these specialized scan tools, they can directly connect your car's computer system to the actual manufacturer for instant diagnostics. Manufacturer specs and all of the up-to-date, detailed repair information your technician needs to properly fix your car. Best of all, they are faster and always cheaper than the dealerships. Extreme Auto Repair, the most technologically advanced car care center in Douglas County. Tell them you listen to KLZ and they'll take 20% off your bill. Call 303-841-1071, 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker, going to the extreme for you.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors.
At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate.
Hey guys, about 10 seconds.
Your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, jumping right to the phones. Joe and Aurora, you are next. What's going on, sir?
Just two questions. One on the fuel. Top tier stations, Conoco,
Yes.
Costco, etc. I've seen
Yes.
the Conocos that had the Bradley name attached to it. Generally speaking, a lot of the Bradleys are
Sinclair.
they are Sinclair.
Typically Sinclair, which is also on the list, so that's fine.
Okay, so it's okay to go to.
Yeah.
Second one is I have a 02 Saturn L100 4-cylinder. About 6 months ago, I replaced the spark plugs. It cleared up the hesitation and the shaking and like the timing's off and the vibration. But I noticed at that time, gas mileage dropped off. Also, that occurred, and it may be related or unrelated. The odometer quit working. It lights up, but does not accumulate miles as you run it. You suggested I take it to TuneTech, which I did out in Aurora. They could not find anything wrong with it, like the O2 sensor, or didn't set any codes, or just couldn't find anything wrong with it. Didn't really know what was. So, back to square one. Any ideas on how to improve the gas mileage, at least bring it back up to where it was?
And I don't remember, how far has it dropped?
I don't know, because the odometer has stopped registering, so I can't actually measure it, but it's noticeable. Getting gas every couple weeks instead of once a month.
Okay.
I think I get the odometer fixed first and make darn sure you know exactly how much you're losing, because it's hard to look for a special area that you're losing gas in.
If you don't know how
fuel
much you're
mileage.
actually losing.
Yeah, if you don't know what the ratio is.
Yeah, to Dorsey's point, if you've gone from 20 miles to the gallon to 10 miles to the gallon, or 20 to 18, I mean, there's a significant difference there in what you actually start looking at as a shop, even to figure out what's going on. But they need some real data to really even be able to start looking at, where is the actual fuel drop coming from.
Okay.
Because what they're doing when they look at the O2, they're looking at the waveform on it. You got to make sure that it's active and it's working real good. But also they're looking at the long-term and short-term fuel trim, because they want to know if historically if the car keeps adding fuel for a reason.
I see.
Right.
And then that kind of gives you a direction in which to look.
Yeah, it used to get 24 to 26 when the wife drove it, and 27 to 28 when I drove it. But it's just really dropped. But I don't know. Do you know what part can be replaced without replacing the whole instrument cluster to get the gas gauge working? Or the mileage, the odometer working?
No, not really anymore on those. They're printed circuit. The whole thing is, the cluster is a module itself.
Oh, okay.
That's why they don't go in and just fix the odometers and stuff anymore.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, so it does get a little expensive. It's probably $300-400 to replace that.
But to Dorsey's point, I think you need that as a starting point to even know what to do on the fuel economy loss, if any, because you really need some real data to be able to tell the shop, listen, I was getting X, here's where I'm at now, or here is where I am now. Is that good, bad, or otherwise?
Right.
When they tested it at TuneTech, do you know if the computer was reporting how many miles per hour you were going to the scan tool?
That I don't know.
You need to ask Ken that, because I know where Dorsey's headed there.
If that doesn't come up on the scan tool, then it may have lost the input it needs to control fuel mileage.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Again, I would get the odometer fixed first and then start looking at the rest of this.
Okay. Well, he wasn't sure if it was in the instrument cluster or I forgot the term he used. It was like the main computer, and he said that thing's $800.
Right.
Yeah. Normally you have to check it at the instrument cluster to see if you're getting a signal input.
Okay. And he'll be looking for what is it called, the miles per hour or what?
If the computer knows how fast the car's going, let's say it that way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take it back to him.
All right. Sounds good, Joe.
Okay.
You bet. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Russ in Cheyenne, who's next. Russ, welcome, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
You know, when you're talking about driving tips, I just had the thought, if you got your face in your lap, do the rules of the road still apply to you?
Maybe.
It sure doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
Oh man, yesterday as I was driving around, I don't know how many people I saw texting and driving, but it was pretty incredible.
I had a lady, I could tell she was going to completely blow the stop sign. She had her face in her lap.
Yep.
I stepped on it to get out of the way so she didn't hit me.
Yep.
And she heard me step on it, and for some reason she thought I was running a stop sign, so something flipped me off.
Oh my
All
word.
upset at me, and you could tell that she hadn't a clue that she'd just blown the stop sign.
Yep. I've let's just say this, Rush. You've got to be about as defensive driving today as you've ever been in your life because nobody else is really paying attention.
Yeah, I've experienced that here lately.
Yep. So you had a wiring question. What is it?
I do. I'm ready to put a winch on my trailer.
Okay.
And I mean, if you guys are still in Fort Collins, I'd just run up there and have you throw it on. But where do I go get cable that'll?
The welding shop. The
just a
welding
welding shop?
shop is the cheapest to do that at. Not to take anything away from Napa or any of the other parts stores that are out there. Napa sells it, so you could get it there also. But typically, price it and see who's got a better deal on it. But number 2, welding cable, because it's really fine wire strand. It's very pliable. It's easy to run underneath the vehicle and get around corners and such with. I like it way better than the hard plastic sheathed, thick copper wiring. And the smaller strands carry the amps better for the winch. So I like using the number 2 welding.
Okay, what do I use for like a disconnect? Do they make like a special disconnect?
Those you can buy, that you can get at Napa. They make a electric disconnect, just those big plastic plugs,
Right.
pretty universal.
Yeah, like a forklift?
Exactly. Exactly the same plug. They sell that at Napa.
Okay.
And those ends, you can crimp or solder those ends onto the cable I just mentioned, and there you go.
Okay, what do you prefer, solder or crimp?
Both. I like to crimp them and then solder them when I'm done.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I've always...
And on those, you solder them with a little mini torch.
Yeah, it's just like building a battery
Like building a
cable.
battery
Exactly.
cable.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put a
Okay,
little
well,
heat
that's what I
shrink over
needed.
the top of it, which Napa sells also, and you're set.
Okay.
And by the way, they've got really, they'll have everything minus the cable because I think you can do a better deal on cable at the welding store.
Okay, I'll go to the welding shop to go get some cable.
All right.
What did you say, double lot?
Number 2 is fine.
Number
You
2.
don't need any more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Russ. Appreciate
Cool.
the phone
Thanks,
call. You bet. Take care. Let's go to David in Loveland, who's next. What's going on, David?
Hey, good morning, guys. Motor mounts and other mounts that I'll be specific here. Nissan Maxima 2002 has hydraulic sensored motor mounts. It's a transverse motor, so it's the radiator side and the firewall side both have sensors. The back one's the transmission, has a sensor. It's a little motor. That's what it is. It's a little motor inside. Is there any issue getting rid of the hydraulic and going with full rubber ones?
Yeah, mainly those are in there for vibration. I'm not even sure on that year if you can transfer over to the
I'm not either. I have no
stock
clue.
rubber one. I've seen a transfer on Ford Tauruses and some of those where you can change it over.
Right.
But most of the import cars, you have to stick with either the fluid filled or the vacuum operated.
Right. And if you were able to get rubber, you just need to seal off that plug because it goes back to the computer. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but you are gonna, and I've
You'll have
seen
a
this
code
on
set,
other
man.
cars. You'll have a code set, and it idly it'll vibrate more.
And
It'll
and depending, what year is the car?
02.
Will, and I'd have to go back and look at my reference. Dorsey, you know this off the top of your head. Will that affect emissions if the light's on?
I don't.
I
don't think so. They're not even gonna read that code because it's not in the comprehensive component monitor.
So then you should be okay that way. The only downside is you won't know if there's something else going on if that light's on.
Right.
Right. So I could unplug it and that would immediately
Turn the light on.
Yes. And if it doesn't turn a light on, then live life and
Exactly. There you go. There you go. All right. With that, we got to run. We got a quick break coming up. Don't go away. Got another 2 hours coming up at Drive Radio. Lines are open. Call us now. We'll get you dialed in and answer those questions as soon as we come back. We're also going to tell you what the new chain laws mean here in Colorado. Don't go away. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio. Hour 2 is next. KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
The big game hunting season is upon us, and archery season is in full swing. Hi, this is Scott Watley with Sportsman of Colorado. Join us Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll bring you local outfitters, experts in archery, muzzleloading, and rifle hunting, and much more. Looking for a place to hunt pheasant and waterfowl? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
John Rush here on the next Rush to Reason. Do you know there's an Islamic influence in Colorado's charter schools? Peggy Littleton will join us, and we'll talk about that. We'll answer all your questions, and we'll have traffic and weather updates. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
This is USA Radio News. I'm Chris Barnes. A report that a British passenger jet headed to Egypt last August dodged a missile that was headed right at it as it passed above the Sinai Peninsula. Several British media outlets making the claim as Egyptian and Russian investigators look into a Russian jet crash in that same area a week ago. The head of the Egyptian investigation team saying evidence points to an in-flight breakup of that Metrojet plane, but he says it's too soon to say why that happened. After 7 years of reviewing the project, President Obama rejecting the Keystone XL pipeline. Obama saying there are overblown claims that the pipeline would be good for the U.S. economy.
For years, the Keystone Pipeline has occupied what I frankly consider an overinflated role in our political discourse.
Republican Senator Charles Grassley of Iowa calling it a misguided political decision rather than one made on the facts and merits. This is USA Radio News.
Did you know the government is scheming to seize your retirement and bank accounts? Hi, David Fisher, CEO of Landmark Capital Gold Group. Get the facts in a white paper called How to Protect Your Retirement and Bank Accounts from Government Seizure. Transfer your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver and take possession with no tax liability. Call Landmark Capital at 844-715-7311. That's 844-715-7311 or landmarkgold.com.
It's here, the biggest guitar sale of the year. Guitar Center's Guitarathon. Save up to 20% on over 120,000 brand name guitars, basses, and amps. Get huge deals on the hottest brands like Fender, Gibson, Taylor, Martin, and more. Over 65,000 guitars under $500. Save up to 15% off select pedals from brands like Dunlop, Boss, Digitech, and Line 6. Plus, get promotional financing on participating vendors when you use your Guitar Center gear card. Don't miss Guitarathon, Thursday through Sunday, only at Guitar Center. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge,
What would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
What's this?
A Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be
20 seconds.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. It's actually a beautiful day outside today, and hope you're enjoying it. If this is Sunday afternoon, thank you for joining us. I should say Sunday at noon. Thank you for joining us, because this is actually now currently Saturday at 11, but you guys on Sunday hear us from the day before. So here's the deal. You can email us. Go to our website, drive-radio.com, which, by the way, it's totally redone, adding things to it on a regular basis, much, much easier to navigate around and find things. We're going to continue to add things on a regular basis, so please check that out frequently. But on Sunday, you can't call in.
Correct.
No one here.
You can call.
Your phone will ring. Nobody here to answer it. So if it is Sunday, feel free to send us an email. I'll answer it for you. And just go to drive-radio.com. If it's Saturday, though, you can call us. Here's the number, 303-477-5600. Had a lot of great questions during that first hour. Lines are open right now. Please call us. We'll get you right on as quickly as we can. During this hour, for those of you listening now also on Sunday, I wanted to save this until now. What do the new chain laws mean in Colorado? Because there's some changes with that.
All right.
So we've got a little bit of time. Nobody's on the phones. If somebody wants to add to this conversation, feel free. But when the chain law is in effect, there are driving restrictions for motorists traveling on I-70. Actually, from what I understand, it's not just I-70. I think this is, I'll just read you what comes from the DOT website. Passenger vehicle traction and chain laws. If weather conditions require CDOT, can implement passenger vehicle traction and chain laws. Motorists will be alerted to an active traction or chain law by highway signage at cotrip.org or Gov Delivery notifications. To sign up for Gov Delivery emails or text messages, there's a link you can click here, which, by the way, all of this is on drive-radio.com. You can find it there. I put this entire article there. So, traction law code 15. During an active traction law, also known as a Code 15, motorists will either have to have snow tires, tires with the mud snow designation, or a four-wheel drive vehicles, and all tires must have a minimum 1/8 inch of tread left.
Measuring from, not from the wear bar.
Right. Measuring from just the bottom surface of the tire, top of the tread. Find out if your tires meet the minimum 1/8 inch tire requirements by taking the quarter test. Again, you can see how to do that right on our website. So, passenger vehicle chain law code 16. During severe winter storms, CDOT will implement a vehicle chain law, also known as a code 16. This is the final safety measure before the highway is closed. During a vehicle chain up law, every vehicle on the roadway is required to have chains or an alternative traction device like an auto sock installed. Period. So if there's a code 16 heavy, severe winter storm, you will have to have chains to travel.
Correct.
Period. Or in this case, the auto sock, which is basically a slip-on type traction device chain. Fines. Motorists driving with inadequate equipment during a passenger vehicle traction or chain law code could be fined more than $130. If a motorist blocks the roadway because they have inadequate equipment during a passenger vehicle traction or chain law, they will be fined more than $650. In other words, more than a price of tires.
Right.
So if you don't have the right tires, get them, or don't travel up in the mountains.
Yep. That's
Pretty
the
simple.
bottom line.
That is the bottom line.
And that tire has to have an M/S on it.
Correct. Or the snowflake.
Or snowflake.
That's right. Either or to be designated that particular type of a tire that is
Right.
adequate. Phil or Paul, sorry. Paul's next. What's going on, Paul?
My son recently purchased a 2006 Cadillac SRX car, and it has a sealed transmission. And I'm unaware of sealed transmissions. Can you tell me how often those ought to be checked and how you check them and something about them?
There's no checking involved unless you develop some sort of a leak. Otherwise, it is a sealed unit, and there's really nothing there to inspect. They do that as a way to prevent, dirt, oil, or dirt and contaminants, water, things like that from getting into the transmission itself. And in my view, it also eliminates people from, fussing with it, and as a way that, I know the dealers don't want me to say this, but it was a way to actually shut some of the aftermarket out of that particular end of things by just basically saying the transmission never needs service. Now, with all that said, it does still need serviced. And I would service it probably, Dorsey can chime into this, or even Larry can chime in, the transmission guys here. But if that were my vehicle, I'd service it about every 75 to 80K.
Okay, well, it's got 100,000 miles on it.
It needs serviced.
Yeah. It needs service.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can still service it, even though there's no official quote unquote, dipstick in it. You can still fill that transmission with, new proper fluid.
Yeah, most of those in the Cadillac have a specific way that you can test the level. There's no dipstick anymore. They call it a sealed transmission, but there's a way you can check the level either.
And there has to be, because otherwise they'd never fill them up properly from the factory. So every one of them still has the ability to check level.
It's either
just
via
not the way
what
it
we
used
call a standpipe or a drip hole or something like that.
Sometimes there's a plug you pull out and see if the
Right.
fluid, just like a manual transmission, you see how high the fluid is, things like that.
That and you have to know the transmission temperature when you're checking it.
Right.
Is that common among cars these days?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
It is. Okay.
Very.
All right. Well, that kind of answers my question.
They were, that was some of the original, Ford started doing that. Cadillac did some of those. Some of the imports were doing that back in those days, but
Toyota.
At Toyota. But in today's world, you're going to be hard pressed to find a transmission with a dipstick on a new car.
Okay.
Unless it's a truck.
Okay. Well, all my cars are old, so they all got dipsticks.
Yeah, especially new cars. That's an 06. Any of the 2015, 2016s now are on the market. Good luck on finding a dipstick on a transmission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. Appreciate that. That's one thing we don't talk much about. We should get, next time Jeff is on, Larry, remind me to talk about those,
some of the
dipstickless.
manufacturers do still put a dipstick tube on and seal it. And for some of them, we buy a universal dipstick and you measure it.
Market, all that.
Well, you measure the fullness of the transmission by engine temperature and what you get a scale with it, what make and model it is. It tells you how many inches should measure on the stick.
Got it.
Chrysler's big on that. So you can use one dipstick that's about probably 8 feet long.
You can use it for everything that way.
It's like a wire rope.
You stick it down in there, you hit the bottom and you know how deep it is, and off you go. Got it. Yeah, it is much more complicated than it used to be. The ability to service a transmission at home in the driveway, pretty much a thing of the past.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you that even changing oil in the driveway is darn near a thing of the past, guys. You can do it, but it's not like it used to be. Not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, a lot of them you get under it and there's so many plastic
shields. Yeah, exactly.
You can't see the bottom of the motor. So then what are you going to do?
You better have some tools and some time to take all that off. And frankly, there's a
lot of new snap pins and stuff like that. And
we've got Colorado Select facilities out there that right now, one of them in particular will do an oil change as a special for $30 and give you some free wiper blades. Now, no offense, for $30 and a set of wiper blades, I wouldn't crawl under the vehicle. I'm being dead serious, guys. Okay. Literally $30. Now that's not synthetic. That's just regular, it's regular high grade oil, good filter, and a free set of wiper blades. Now these are going to be Napa high quality wiper blades. These aren't some cheesy things. You're going to spend $20 on wiper blades.
Yeah.
So you just spent $10 on an oil change. Tell me where you're going to go get an oil change for $10. You can't buy the filter in the oil for $10. So my point is this. don't even mess with it anymore. It's way easier. And then while they're at it, it's going to be on a lift. They can look at brakes. They can check for leaks. They can look at hoses. They can look at everything under the vehicle that, no offense, unless you're a trained technician and you know exactly what you're looking for in your vehicle, chances are you might miss something. Because they're going to look at everything. Suspension components, you name it. That's what we do in an oil change, right? Front to back.
Yep.
If you're taking it to somebody that understands vehicles, they're going to look at the vehicle front to back. The rest of the fluids, belts, hoses, all those things.
We do it with an iPad now, and we take pictures of different things, and the customer can look at them and see what we're talking about.
And even, okay, so let's even do it this way. Dorsey, what is a full-priced oil change at your place? No discounts, no nothing. What's the highest oil change, non-synthetic you've got? $45, $50?
Probably $43.
No offense, guys. For two $20 bills? Again, I'm not crawling underneath that vehicle for two $20 bills. Not after you have to go buy the oil, buy the filter, and then go through all the headache of then disposing of that oil. You got to capture that oil, figure out how to get it either back in the bottles to haul it or put it in a milk jug or. All of the headache, it just isn't worth it to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe I'm getting old, but it's just not worth it. Now, Frank, fortunately for me, I've got a shop with a pit where you can drive over it and makes it all nice and easy. And, but if you don't have that, Dorsey, at home in the garage, it isn't worth it.
Most of these cars you can't get your arm under.
It's no, exactly. It is not worth it.
No.
So take it to one of our Colorado Select facilities. You can find them all at drive-radio.com or go to coloradoselect.com. Either one takes you right to the page of all the different individual shops we have that can make that happen for you. Lines open. Call us. We'd love to answer your questions, whatever it is, 303-477-5600. If you want to add to that chain law, topic that we just talked about a few minutes ago, Larry gave me something that says have bald tires. It can cost you $500. It coincides with what we just talked about. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Life has consequences, and a consequence of a poorly maintained fleet of work vehicles is the unfortunate timing of a breakdown. Your customers are counting on you, and one breakdown could be a deal breaker for the customer your driver was trying to reach. Maybe that customer has clients of his own who are demanding an explanation, and so on. How long do you expect to be in business when your customers think you are unreliable? Your solution? Tilden Total Car Care. Using state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet, Tilden can actually anticipate maintenance items before they become major repairs or ultimately breakdowns. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden Total Car Care today and ask about their fleet maintenance program. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can, as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Inglewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you have tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
I want my mileage back. Here's some inside information to get your gas mileage back. Inside your engine, carbon builds up, clogging the injectors and combustion area. If you want your fuel system cleaned in just one tank of fuel, use what the inside car guys use most. It's called BG44K. In fact, service managers use it almost 3-to-1 over any other fuel system cleaner. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
BG. Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car.
What's the best tire? I have an 02 Accord.
important safety item, yet people ignore that.
Because I have to get 3 replaced.
Colorado Select Car Care Center will gladly check your brakes for you.
Michelin's? Okay, at Costco. That,
Group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians.
cheap, but they're good for Michelin, Costco. Okay, cool. Thanks. On that one. All right, cool. And here we go.
John Rudd, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Dorsey's over in the Arvada area. If you need him, look him up at drive-radio.com. You can't miss it. And all of our other Colorado Select facilities are there, along with all of our sponsors, which, by the way, one of them I should mention real quick is Paul Leuenberger from Chrome, or American National Insurance. I don't talk about Paul near enough. He's a great guy. Anything you need insurance-wise, vehicle, home, auto, boat, RTV, ATV, you name it, Paul can take care of you. And again, he is listed on drive-radio.com. Larry, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, how are you?
Doing great.
Larry from Longmont. You were talking about snow tire laws, new chain laws,
Yes.
and all that stuff like that. Well, I see that there are winter tires and snow tires, but there are no winter snow tires. There are only summer snow tires. I just think we all ought to run our tires until the cord shows through all the way around and then buy something new. It's insane. How can there not be winter snow tires?
Winter, as in, I don't know if I'm not.
You have a winter tire, and then you have a snow tire.
Correct.
But they're not. It's not a winter snow tire.
Yeah, that's right. They're not one and the same. That's correct.
They're not one and the same.
They are not one and the same.
Right. So why bother to have snow tires? I mean, you were commenting on the kind of tires you have to have. I noticed that winter tires were not mentioned.
No, they're not. They're saying you either need the snowflake. Now, if you had strictly snow tires on there, I guarantee you're not going to have a problem with that. State Patrol's not going to have any issues with a straight snow tire. I think what they're trying to tell people is, listen, if you're going to buy tires and run up I-70, you better make sure you're not running a summer tire. You better make sure you're running some sort of a all-season / winter tire. The problem with some of the all-seasons, and it doesn't talk about this in the article, we can get into this, and it's to your point, even though you bought an all-season, doesn't necessarily mean that's a good snow tire.
Right.
No, I understand that. But if you buy a snow tire, you can't get it in a winter snow tire. There's no such thing as a winter snow tire.
There's not. It's correct.
So in the winter, do you drive winter tires or do you drive snow tires? Or neither?
Well, I guess it depends on where you're driving, first of all, and what you're driving.
If I was in Texas, I'd probably get the winter tires.
Yeah, if it were me, and again, on a truck, I would buy, if you're going to be traveling up I-70, driving a truck or even driving a car, I would actually buy a regular snow type tire. If I was going to travel up ski on the weekends and travel I-70 on a frequent basis, I would buy an actual snow tire.
But that's not a tire that's recommended for the winter.
Yeah, you can run a snow tire in the winter here just fine.
Well, you can run an all-season tire in the winter.
You can,
but
I wouldn't. I would run an actual snow tire.
Yeah, but it says, are you going to drive in the winter or are you going to drive in the snow? Well, snow happens in the winter.
Correct.
And so there's no answer to the question. That's what I'm getting at. Do you want winter tires or snow tires? I have no idea. Neither one of them is suitable.
I would not agree with that.
Well, I wouldn't either, but what I'm saying is it makes no sense what they're doing.
You mean what they're saying makes no sense?
Yeah, why wouldn't they make a winter snow tire? But they don't.
They don't. No, and the law does, and I'm reading the law right now, it has to have either snow tires or tires with the mud snow designation, or you have to have a four-wheel drive vehicle.
Right, but if you have a winter tire, that's not going to cut it.
Correct. Because it will not have that snowflake or that mud snow designation. That is correct.
Well,
and I didn't write the law.
The winter tire has a designation, does it not? Doesn't have a label on the side?
I'd have to look and see if it actually I don't know if it has a snowflake on a winter tire or not. I don't think it does. I think it's more just because of the compound and what you want in the winter itself for like a icy conditions or something along those lines, but I don't think it constitutes a snowflake. Now, some of you guys that work at some of the tire places, if you want to call in and correct me on that, feel free. I am not an expert on quote-unquote winter tires. But to Larry, to your point, I don't think they've got a snowflake designation.
Well,
because I don't think they're considered a winter tire is not considered a snow tire.
So you should buy a summer snow tire.
Or just a snow tire, yeah.
Well, if you buy a snow tire, it's a summer snow tire.
Correct.
I mean, it's not a winter tire. You don't want to drive a mud and snow tire in the winter. I mean, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
Well, then when would you use them?
Well, personally, I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't buy a snow tire then?
I personally would not. Now, there's a lot of other people out there that would and that love them and think they're great. I don't drive up and down I-70 enough to constitute that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think they've all lost their minds. I think if you want, if you were going to have a tire you're going to use in the winter, it should have a winter designation. And
now I am looking at, just quickly, I just popped up Goodyear's website just for grins, and I thought I'll just look up, Goodyear winter tire. So if you look at Goodyear's winter tire page, they actually have a page designated for winter tires. Their Goodyear, for example, here, there's a Goodyear Eagle Ultra Grip GW2 that does have a sport performance rating and a winter with a snowflake designation on that tire.
But it's not a snow tire.
In this case, it is.
So it's a mud and snow tire.
No, and I didn't say mud. It's a snow/winter/sports performance tire.
Does it have a picture of it?
Yes.
Does it have heavy lugs?
Not bad. It's about. I would call it. As far as an ultra grip type of a tire, it's not a heavy lug tire, but it's definitely got way more than what you would find in a typical all season or in a summer tire. It's a pretty aggressive tire for a car. Now again, I am not a passenger car tire expert by any stretch of the imagination. I've done trucks the majority of my life. I still have 60 of them my own. I'm on that side of the fence more than I am on the car side. Dorsey's probably more on the car side of the fence than I am. I would, again, if you're going to be traveling up I-70, I would buy an actual, either a snow tire or an all season with that, snowflake designation.
Well, you plow, don't you?
Correct.
Yeah. So what
do I run?
Yeah.
Personally, I run a BF Goodrich all-terrain, and on the other trucks that I run in the fleet, we'll use an aggressive lug type tire to push snow with.
But do you not see that tire is not recommended for winter use?
I run that tire all year long. I've never had a problem with it, and I've run them for probably the past 20 years.
No, I understand that. I mean, I understand that's the way we've always done it. However, the manufacturer is saying this tire is not suitable for winter use.
And that's not true. If you go look at BF Goodrich's all-terrain page, that's not what it says. It'll tell you can run that tire in the winter.
Well, then why would they bother to make winter tires if the ones you use are suitable for?
Well, if you go look at BF Goodrich's website and then go look at their new KO2 page, go look at the KO2 page and look at the tire details, it'll have that designation around the wintertime. No problem. In fact, that particular tire has an all-season tire rating and a winter tire rating both. So that one more than qualifies to run up I-70.
A lot of your snow tires are real soft,
correct,
compound, and they're studdable.
Correct.
And they're what?
Studdable.
Oh, right. Yeah, well.
And by the way, a KO2 is not studdable. For those of you listening, that's not a studdable tire.
I think I'm getting too old for this world.
Well, and again, best way on some of these is in what I've had to do, frankly, just because of some of these new laws and what we're looking at and so on. You got to go to some of these manufacturers' websites of the tires themselves and look at some of the designations that they've got. Because to your point, a lot of them are different, and it's not the way it used to be. Even a tire that maybe you ran for years and years may have a different designation on it today than it did 10 years ago. So you got to look.
Okay.
Yep. And the other reason why I like the all-terrains is they got a really good stiff sidewall, which I like.
Well, I understand. I'm just envisioning, getting stopped at a state patrol station.
Yeah, you would have, in my particular case, with a KO2 all-terrain, you'd have no problem. It has all the designations covered.
They could look at your brand new snow tires and say, these tires are not recommended for winter use. So
Larry, you are correct. If it doesn't say it specifically on the side that it is an actual all season or has a snowflake designation, you're correct. So you got to check that.
Okay.
So those of you out there buying tires, getting ready for winter, double check and make sure that it has the proper designation on it. Or to Larry's point, you could be running up I-70, have full brand new, heavy lug tires. If they don't have the right designation, you may very well get a ticket.
But if you go up there with winter tires on, and they don't have a heavy lug, they're going to say, "Sorry, you don't have the right lugs."
Well, according to what the law says, as long as it's got the snowflake on the side of the tire, you'd be okay. But you've got to have that designation. Okay.
All righty.
All right. Well, sounds great. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Maureen, who is next. Maureen, welcome.
Thank you. I don't know if you've covered this recently, but I'm wondering what sedan battery that you favor. Which brand?
Dorsey, I'll let you answer this one.
I don't sell anything but Napa Premiums and Optimus.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second.
Optimus.
Okay.
Which you wouldn't need, Maureen. The regular premium Napa battery would work fine.
Yeah, I use the what we call the 84-month Premier battery that Napa sells. I don't sell anything below that level, like a 75-month or a 50-month.
What do you think about Interstate?
They're good.
I think Interstate makes a good battery. They are a hybrid battery. You do have to check the water on them.
Mm-hmm. They're not a sealed battery, is what Dorsey's trying to say.
That's why I don't sell them.
I didn't know that.
It's not. Let me make sure I say that the better way. It's not a maintenance-free battery.
Right.
Well, I didn't know that.
And you're gonna have. They don't really make a point of telling you that either. I've been in their store and watched them sell batteries. They don't tell people that this battery is not a maintenance-free battery.
Correct.
And around here, we've got pretty good water, but I would still put distilled water in and make sure you use that.
Well, I guess I've been running on false premises here.
Yeah, it's also easier to get the battery contaminated.
But it seems like I sure wasn't told a lot that I needed to know when I bought it.
Yeah, you can get them contaminated easily. You can get seepage through the caps, and a lot of times people are still cleaning batteries with baking soda, cleaning the terminals. And that seems to go generation by generation. And it's real easy to get some baking soda in a cell, and then you got a dead cell.
Mm-hmm.
So
very interesting. Thank you very much.
Okay. Does that help?
I have another question.
Sure. Go ahead, Maureen. We're fine. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think I've lost it. I'll call back sometime.
No, you can call us back. Don't worry. We're going to take a real quick break. We'll come right back. And we'll answer some more questions. We've got half of the show still left to go. So give us a call. We'll keep Larry busy. 303-477-5600. If you've got any tire question, anything along those lines, we'll help you as much as we can. We want to make this new, the new law, the new regulations that we have when it comes to tires on I-70 specifically, but this will apply to some other places also. We want to make sure that we're being clear on that. So if you got any questions, please call us. 303-477-5600. We'll be right back. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you have tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
We've all been there. You run to the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
John Rush here. I want to talk to you again about your pets. And pets are very much a part of our family. It's one of the things that we talk about a lot amongst ourselves. There's very few pet owners I've ever met where the person hates the pet. Because typically, if that's the case, you don't own one. If you own a pet, they're a part of the family, right? It doesn't really matter whether it's large animal, small animal, cats, dogs, birds, you name it. They're a part of the family, right, guys?
Oh, absolutely. Tucker, our little Shih Tzu, he's with us everywhere.
Okay, so in your case, Dan, that's a dog. I mean, I've got a yellow lab. Doesn't require a lot of grooming. I mean, you can wash them and do those sorts of things, but yours actually needs some grooming from time to time, correct?
Oh, yes, and a Shih Tzu has to have the proper Shih Tzu cut.
Okay, guess what? Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center will do just that. They've got a full grooming department. Actually, I've been in the center, and the cool part about this is a 2-level veterinarian clinic. So you walk in on the main level, you can drop off your little Fido, whatever your animal's name is. And the cool thing about it too, this is something just as a side note. Most of the time when you walk in and you're trying to fill out paperwork, typically you've got a leash and it's on your arm and you're trying to fight the dog or whatever you have with as far as a pet goes. You're doing all that while you're filling out the paperwork, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, guess what these guys thought of? There's little hooks on the wall. So when you walk into the counter and you actually start filling out all the paperwork, you can actually put the leash on the hook and you're set and you can actually stop and fill out paperwork. Amazing.
That's actually thinking of the customer first.
Thank you. That's exactly what they do at Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. The phone number 303-708-8050. Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle are the owners there. They're great long-term supporters of Drive Radio, and I would encourage you, please support them. Take your pets there. You will not find a better experience at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Lone Tree. The web address, lonetreevet.com.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427.
Here we go, guys. 5 seconds.
427-2108.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West, Mindy on the other side of the glass, along with Larry Inger from Larry's Automotive and Transmission. We're going to go to Wally in Salida next. Wally, welcome, sir.
This is Wally from Denver. I just happen to be in Salida.
Oh, well, that works. We'll take that.
Hey, I got a question for you. I just got my truck.
Okay.
And
Your Ford?
yes,
Awesome.
all the running lights, headlights are working. The third brake light that's on top of the cab works. But
Okay.
none of my turn signals or my brake lights are working.
Okay.
I've checked. There's 2 fuses. I've checked them. The only thing I haven't checked yet are the bulbs. I find it hard to believe that all 4 bulbs could be bad, but stranger things have probably been known to happen. Any other suggestions as to what I should look for?
Turn signal switch.
The brake lights aren't working either.
Right, and they go through the turn signal switch.
The third one that's up on top of the cab works.
That means the brake light switch is working. That's why I'm sending you to the turn signal switch.
The third one bypasses the turn signal switch.
Right.
What's that?
The third brake light bypasses the turn signal switch. It's not wired through it.
Oh.
That's why I'm guessing that the turn signal switch is bad. Since you don't have turn signals and you don't have brake lights, but you do have a third brake light working, that tells us that the brake light switch itself is working, but your turn signal switch is not.
So the 2 lights on the back of the bed are connected through the turn signal switch.
Correct. Now, it is possible also on those trucks, they do have a connection back there because you can take the bed off of those trucks, and there is a connection point in that harness somewhere that you also better double check to make sure is working correctly. Although, if you've got, park lights coming on, backup lights, and so on, that's probably not the case.
Yeah, parking lights, backup lights are working. The front turn signals aren't working either.
Then you got a turn signal switch problem.
And that's in the steering wheel column itself?
Correct.
Okay. And
Got to pull the wheel off for that.
What's that?
Got to pull the wheel off to get to that.
Is it? Well, it's probably not something I'll try and do myself.
It's probably in the clock spring.
Well, yeah, that's a 94, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the older model.
Yeah, it'd be in the turn signal.
So it's just in you just need to pull the wheel and put a switch in it. And Napa sells those.
I said, could Geno's do that?
Oh, sure. Definitely.
Because they're close to where I'm at now.
Geno's or Tilden, either one over there can handle that for you.
Okay.
Okay.
I knew you guys would have the answer.
There you go, Wally.
Thank you.
You're a good man. Thanks. Appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Jim, who's next in Arvada. Jim, welcome, sir.
Howdy.
How are you doing?
Good. I got a 2006 Ford F-150 with the 5.4 liter engine. I got a notice in the mail.
You too? I got one too.
Okay. Clue me in on this, will you?
There is a class action suit against Ford on the, I believe it's the 2004 to 2008. Yeah, 2004 to 2008.
Right.
On the 5.4s, because they would the plugs would actually carbon up when you went to pull them out. They would actually pull the threads and do some damage to the head itself, and you'd have to use a special tool to extract them and so on. So if you had that problem in the past, paid to repair it, you have the ability to get reimbursed for that.
What if my truck has 46,000 miles on it? What if I have never?
You're not going to get a dime.
I won't get anything. Huh?
No, and the plus side is if you keep those plugs changed, you keep them fresh, you're never going to have an issue, and you're in good shape. That's a good thing.
I see.
If you have a problem, you'll be able to go back and get reimbursed. But in your case, if you change those plugs out at 45, 50,000 miles and do that regularly, you won't have any issues. Which, by the way, is much better than trying to fix it and get reimbursed.
I see. Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering. I just didn't know, and it said that it had to be done by a Ford dealership.
No, that's not necessarily the case. You can actually fill out a form and send that in that you've had it repaired at an independent shop or even yourself and still get reimbursed.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
So you would just recommend doing them right now?
Yeah, if your truck is that low miles and you're at 45K, the age of it, I would go ahead and just do them now and do them about every 45, 50K in the future, and you'll be fine.
Okay. Did Dorsey do them there at A-West?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
And knows probably about as much about them as anybody in that area does.
Oh, that's cool. All right. That's what I needed to know.
All right, Jim. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, you fixed a few of those, haven't you? I know we have.
Yeah.
I wondered. Now, here's the other question. This is just hypothetically speaking. Where's the class action suit on the prior years? For the ones that just all of a sudden going down the road, the threads pop out and throws the plug out and ruins the coil on plug. And where's the class action suit against that one?
Yeah,
they're worse, actually.
Up to mid-04 did that.
Yeah, they're worse than the. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, this is a problem too on the 04 to 08s or the 05 to 08s, I guess I should say. But frankly, the earlier ones were worse. Where's that lawsuit? I haven't figured that one out yet. It's like, wait a minute, time out. You guys are. I mean, is there like a statute of limitations or something? Is that why nobody's gone after those? But they were both an issue. The earlier ones were worse. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, harder to fix.
Harder to fix. In a lot of cases, you got to pull the head off to actually get them fixed. Depending upon how they've been fixed prior to that, you may very well have to pull ahead to fix them, on a final note.
Yeah, the newer ones, they just flat twist off on you.
Yep.
Trying to take them out, and takes you forever to get them out of there.
Dumb. Who thought that was a good idea? Some Ford engineer?
Probably.
Well, whoever he is didn't do it right.
Expensive spark plug too.
Yeah. Yeah, on top of it to make matters worse.
Yeah.
All right, lines open 303-477-5600. Questions on tires, comments, anything you want to talk about, we're here. We've got plenty of lines open 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll answer those questions just as soon as we come back. Right after this, Drive Radio, John Rush, KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with Kenz and Leslie Distributing, your local BG Products distributor. back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. This week, I want to talk about one of the most neglected fluids in your car, the power steering fluid. You've probably noticed that over the years, the power steering system in your car does a phenomenal job of making your car easier than ever to steer. What you probably haven't noticed is that the manufacturer neglected to include either a filter or a drain plug for the high-pressure hydraulic fluid that operates your power steering system. Our studies show that driving conditions such as stop-and-go traffic or mountain driving can cause power steering fluid to oxidize in as little as 30,000 miles. Oxidized power steering fluid can cause the hardening and degradation of the bushings and seals within the power steering rack assembly, and when this occurs, expensive repairs can follow. We recommend visiting a shop with a specialized power steering fluid exchange system that can replace the entire power steering fluid at least every 30,000 miles, thusly maintaining maximum performance and lifespan for your high-pressure power steering system. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG Products, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
Your wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Arvada West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all four wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Arvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
I want my mileage back. Here's some inside information to get your gas mileage back. Inside your engine, carbon builds up, clogging the injectors and combustion area. If you want your fuel system cleaned in just one tank of fuel, use what the inside car guys use most. It's called BG44K.
About 10 seconds, guys.
3-to-1 over any other fuel system cleaner. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Jeremiah's next from Nebraska. What's going on, sir?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for calling.
Awesome. Hey, I have a 1990 K1500.
Okay.
It's got a 5.7 in it. It's got quite a few miles. The odometer quit working, but I'm assuming it's got right around 400,000 miles, and it's the original motor.
Okay.
I use it. It's just an old work truck, but I just recently had the knock sensor changed on it because I used the OBD1 sensor, and I got one of the little notched out keys, and that was the code that come up on it. So I had the knock sensor changed out. I've changed the plugs, the wires, the cap, the rotor, and it still runs real rough. Like when you go to start it, it'll start briefly and then it'll die. If you do that 2 or 3 times, it just does the same thing. It'll start and die. But if you hold the gas pedal to the floor as you're starting it, and keep it revved, then it'll run for a little while. But you got to double foot it all the time. You got to run the gas and the brake to make sure that it won't die on you because it just coughs, spits real hard. I didn't know if it has something to do with maybe the throttle body or maybe the injectors were going bad.
When you pull the air cleaner off and look down in the throat of the throttle body, has it got a nice even spray like you'd have coming out of a water nozzle, or do you see a bunch of drips in it?
No, it seems like it's spraying good, and I've looked at that. I've had those electronic, the 2 plug-ins. You got a plug-in on each side, inside that throttle body. I had those changed about 4 years ago.
Okay.
But I did notice when I took the air cleaner off, I pushed down on the back side of one of those plugs, and when I pushed down, the truck died right away. So I didn't know if maybe that was wrong. Maybe it doesn't have a good connection, and I didn't push real hard. I just put a gentle pressure to see if maybe it wasn't seated in there right. I went back in, fired the truck up again, and came back out, jumped up in the engine compartment, and pushed down on the other side, and it killed the truck just the same.
Wouldn't they shorting out or something?
Could be that, or coming disconnected, maybe.
Disconnected, shorting.
That's what I wasn't sure. They've got rubber grommets, on the prongs.
Right.
I wanted to, I made sure that those were seated like they were supposed to be. I just can't figure it out.
2 things. I think that's one area to look at. Make sure you've got those buttoned up and done. I don't think that's your running problem. I would still get that fixed and taken care of. Have you checked the throttle body spacer at 400K? Have you put a throttle body spacer on it recently?
I haven't done. The only thing that I've done is put heads. I put brand new heads on there, which were a pain in the butt to find, but I did find some. I put new heads on there.
Spacer sucking air.
Yeah, I bet the throttle body itself, there's a gasket underneath there. They tend to crack, suck air, and give exactly the same type of symptoms you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's kind of what I didn't know. Like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of top-end work to it. I've done a lot of other stuff. And that was my main focus area, was that throttle body area, maybe those injectors, maybe something there. But I've been at a loss. I use it for a work truck, but it's not working for a work truck right now. So
the best way to check your injectors is if you have a timing light, hook it up and put it on number 1 and shine the light on the cone spray pattern out of the injectors, and you'll get a really good view of them.
Okay. I never heard of that, but that's definitely something.
Yeah, it works good.
Okay, cool. All right, well, to give that spacer a check, I'm driving truck right now, but I'll definitely go home and tear it apart and see what I can come up with.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right.
Appreciate the phone call.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
You're very welcome. You do the same. Let's go to Scott in Aurora, who is next. Scott, welcome, sir.
Yes, I'm a long-time listener, and you've given me advice on peculiar problems over the years.
Great, thank you.
2004 Chevy Impala. I bought it brand new. I have a plastic. The radiator is a plastic, radiator. It's been replaced about 3 years ago. It started leaking on the top, but now it's leaking on where the little nipple that comes out on the top of the radiator. It's plastic that connects to the reservoir tank. There's a real thin hose. The return hose.
The overflow hose.
Right, overflow hose. Well, right there, it looks like, and I think I did it myself, I used a little pocket knife to try to carefully slice that return hose to wiggle it off. But when I did, I cut into the plastic on that nipple sticking out, and I tried using some super glue type thing to seal it up. Do you think that super glue product would seal it up, or am I going to have to buy a new radiator? It doesn't leak very fast. It's very, very slow in leaking.
They make a repair kit for that called Tube-Medic.
Tube-Medic?
Medic, like MEDIC.
And what places would Napa sell that?
Napa supplied us with them. I think they can still order them through the store. It's in our either cooling hose or radiator catalog. A lot of the auto care centers have them. Like I have one. I bet Ken Rackley's got one out in Aurora.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look on the. What's his address?
He's on East Colfax.
Basically, he's about an eighth of a mile east of I-225 on Colfax, north side of the road.
Yeah, north side.
And what is called Ken Mac?
No, it's called TuneTech. It's Ken Rackley is the owner's name. TuneTech Automotive.
TuneTech. Yeah, I know where it's at. Okay.
Yep.
He should have that.
Yes, he should.
So I buy
Yeah, I
two.
think
All
he
right.
should.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. Let's squeeze another one in. Gary is next. Gary, welcome, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Almost noon.
Almost.
Yeah, that's right. I've got a 2013 Nissan Juke. It's a turbocharged Nismo, and we got 14,000 miles on it.
Okay.
And it set a set a light for the all-wheel drive and the traction control light and an ABS light, all just automatically. So I took it in to Nissan thinking I had a warranty, and they said a rodent ate through the wheel speed sensor wire, and I said, okay. I mean, I haven't seen any rodents near my home.
Got any rabbits around your house?
There's a lot of rabbits.
That's what'll do it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I just thought this for humor for you guys, and I don't know if this is true, and I wanted to find out if you guys have heard this, but the service writer at Nissan told me that the reason he ate that is because the Japanese cars, the wiring on them are made with the vegetable oil.
That's right.
On the
soy oil. That's right. He's correct.
And that attracts them.
That's right. That is
you
true.
guys have heard that.
That's a true statement. Very
I'll
true.
be darned.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
not. He's not pulling your chain at all when he says that. And it's not just Asian cars. There's a lot of cars now that are doing the same thing. For a long time, it was just the Asian cars, but anymore, a lot of manufacturers, because we're in a worldwide economy and the parts are coming from a lot of the same places. At one time, it was really strictly sort of an Asian thing, but anymore, there's a lot of vehicles that are doing the same thing, and they use a plant-based type of a coating sheathing on the wires, and it does attract them.
It's kind of replacing a lot of the crude oil
Vinyls and such
is for that.
It's a soy. They're using a soy vegetable, based type of a product. And man, I tell you what, the rabbits and the squirrels, especially the rabbits, man, they'll just chew through them in no time flat.
There's more rabbits this year too.
Yep.
Can I ask you guys one other quick question?
Sure.
So this vehicle came with a Continental tire on it, some type of high performance tire.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. They're terrible in the snow, though.
It's awful. I had the car, and I mean, you literally can't go.
Oh, they're like
you
skateboard.
You can go right. You can't. Yeah,
they're
you
terrible.
Can't stop anywhere. So anyway, I threw some snow tires on it.
Okay.
And so I've been rotating those on and off. I have 14,000 miles on that car. I'd say about half of the time I've had the snow tires on it. The Continentals are completely wore out.
Yep. My sister has the exact same car, same story you have.
Huh. Do you have any idea whether Continental is standing behind? Is there any type of warranty?
I don't believe there is. Part of it is I think they used too soft of a compound on that car. They made that car so you could drive it fast, stick it to the ground, and in turn they're so soft it just wears them off faster. That's the only explanation I have for it.
It's just garbage. I looked at all the ones they had on the lot yesterday while I was hanging out.
Yeah.
And they are not using that tire anymore.
No, and I think you hit the nail on the head.
I think that one had a high speed rating.
Yep.
Pretty soft.
Yep. That's why.
For sure.
All right, got to run.
Well,
Appreciate it very much, Gary. Thanks so much for the phone call. We're going to take a quick, not timeout, news break. We're going to come right back. Third hour coming up next. Alan from Westminster. Hang tight. We're going to be right back. We got a couple lines open. 303-477-5600. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
John Rush here on the next Rush to Reason. Do you know there's an Islamic influence in Colorado's charter schools? Peggy Littleton will join us, and we'll talk about that. We'll answer all your questions, and we'll have traffic and weather updates. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560.
This is USA Radio News. I'm Melody Burkett. The White House says the Obama administration still has time to close the military prison in Guantanamo Bay before President Obama leaves office. Presidential spokesman Josh Earnest says that some transfers of prisoners would take place by the end of the year.
Absolutely, it's still possible, and it's still something that we are working very hard to accomplish.
The U.S. is working to reach agreements with countries around the world to transfer 53 eligible prisoners from the facility in Cuba. A senior U.S. official told Reuters that it's possible there could be less than 100 inmates at Guantanamo Bay by the end of the year. The number currently stands at 112. U.S. airstrikes are likely to increase against ISIS targets in Syria and Iraq in the coming weeks. The head of U.S. Air Force's Central Command told reporters at a Dubai conference that the reduction in airstrikes by U.S. and coalition forces was due to weather and a slowdown in ground activity and not due to Russian airstrikes in the region. This is USA Radio News. I'm Melody Burkett.
Did you know the government is scheming to seize your retirement and bank accounts? Hi. David Fisher, CEO of Landmark Capital Gold Group. Get the facts in a white paper called How to Protect Your Retirement and Bank Accounts from Government Seizure. Transfer your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver and take possession with no tax liability. Call Landmark Capital at 844-715-9411. That's 844-715-9411 or landmarkgold.com.
It's here, the biggest guitar sale of the year. Guitar Center's Guitarathon. Save up to 20% on over 120,000 brand name guitars, basses, and amps. Get huge deals on the hottest brands like Fender, Gibson, Taylor, Martin, and more. Over 65,000 guitars under $500. Save up to 15% off select pedals from brands like Dunlop, Boss, Digitech, and Line 6. Plus, get promotional financing on participating vendors when you use your Guitar Center gear card. Don't miss Guitarathon, Thursday through Sunday, only at Guitar Center. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine in a full barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
A Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And this is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, along with Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West. We've got lines full. As soon as somebody drops off, call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Alan in Westminster, you are next.
Hi. So 2010 Wrangler, and that light changed oil keeps coming on at 2,500 miles in the couple of years I've owned it, and I put full synthetic in it. Does that thing got marks to it, or because I'm not like killing this Wrangler?
So you're saying that how many miles is it coming on again?
Around this time, actually, just yesterday, like 2,600 miles since the last change.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, those can be reprogrammed where you can set the intervals yourself.
Yeah, I asked them. Oh, you mean by myself? I asked them during warranty, and they said changed. But okay.
No, if you read the owner's manual, it'll tell you how to actually reset that yourself.
To reset the actual miles it uses, or
yeah, how far between intervals you want to go.
Oh, I had not seen that. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that yourself on that car. Yeah, and that's what I would do. And then because as you know, that's way too soon.
Yeah. So I also have this E450 motorhome.
Okay.
And in years past, when I've worked on vehicles, the heat comes out, even if I have it just on vents. There's some amount of heat that comes out. Not a lot, but just some. And it used to be that there was a little vacuum valve years ago that shut off the water, but I can't seem to find one. Is there such a thing? Should there be such a thing on there? Or
don't think anymore they're doing that. What year is it? I didn't ask that.
Okay.
What year is that E450?
Oh, 2004.
I don't think that one has a shut off on it.
Probably not. It's probably just got a blend air door.
Okay.
All right. That's all. Thank you very much. I love your show.
Alan. No, thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call. David in Denver, you are next. Welcome, sir.
Yes, I have a 96 Mercedes S320. So that's 3.2 straight 6. It's got 130,000 miles on it. With the oil, the parts store gave 5 different options. So I called the dealership, and they said they relayed the message, use full synthetic 5W40 or 0W40. And for the winter, would the 0 be better, or what do you think?
The 0 is probably better for the winter. It's going to be a little thinner.
Mm-hmm. All righty. And
that's
then,
usually what we run in them.
Okay. And then for the spark plugs, they said, well, they use the Mercedes, but he said you could also use NGK.
Yeah.
And all right. And then so I guess I can go with that. And then is this car old enough? So I know you always say that you should, what it came with, but this is a 96, so 20 years. I mean, probably okay.
No, I would still, if they're saying NGKs, go ahead and run those in it.
Go ahead and do that. Okay, great. All right, well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for the phone call. Let's go to David, who is next on a Subaru. David, welcome, sir.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Darcy and John. I was out driving and heard a snatch of your program when I first turned it on, finishing up talking about winter tires on I-70.
Yes.
I have a 2015 Subaru Forester.
Okay.
It's got 5,000 miles on it, so the tires are all basically brand new. The Yokohama Geolanders G91, they're P225/60 R17 radials.
Mm-hmm.
Do I understand what you're saying? Is that even those? I mean, it does not have a snowflake on it at all.
Okay.
And under normal circumstances, I always have a set of winter tires with studs on it, but Subaru nicely went from 16 to 17-inch tires over the last 11 years, and I don't have the snow tires yet. Are you saying that the tires that I have are no good on I-70?
You have a four-wheel drive, so it
Four-wheel
doesn't
drive.
apply to you.
Right.
Unless you're in, well, if you get into severe, into a real severe storm and they call out the code 16 was what they're going to now call it or designate it, you then would have to have some sort of a traction device on two of your tires. And in your particular case, the front wheels, I would put those on. All cars, all trucks will have to have some sort of a additional traction device, chain, something along those lines.
Now, what about studded snow tires?
Doesn't count.
Ah, okay.
That won't matter.
They don't care about that. It has to be chains. But
in that severe weather, when it gets to that point, when it's the severe weather situation, you'll have to have they have to have a traction device in that particular case. They call it a code 16.
Code 6, and that'll be well publicized.
They will tell everybody that. Yes.
Because if you're on the road,
it'll say so.
But I mean, if you're on the road and then it goes in, you're up the creek without a paddle.
Well, you'll know way in advance if that's going to take place. I mean, if you're already on the highway and then they close it, of course they're going to let you pass through. But if you're on the road and they close it in front of you and you weren't paying attention or something along those lines, you're right. You're not going to go. They're not going to let you through.
Okay, so studded toe snow tires work, but not for a code 16. It's chains or nothing.
That's right.
And put them on the front, of course. But other than that, with an all-wheel drive on the Forester, I should be okay at least for the next month or so.
That's correct.
Thanks. Okay,
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Good program.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate that phone
you
call. Go
can
ahead.
call 511 too.
And always find out. That's
Not-
right.
Not 2, but 511 and get your road
Also,
directions
call it also.
too. Yeah.
And find out exactly what's going on. And you can always look at CDOT's website.
Mhm.
That'll also tell you in advance what's going on. So if you're planning a trip, planning to go skiing, you can always look at the weather and kind of know what's going on. But if there is that code 16, you will have to have some sort of an additional, that they call it severe weather storms. There'll be a passenger vehicle chain law. It's the final safety measure before the highway is actually closed. Every vehicle on the roadway is required to have either chains or an alternative traction device like an auto sock. Fines will apply if you don't.
Those auto socks remind me of tying rags around my bicycle tires.
I know. Cracks me up. Ray, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, John, this is Ray. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks, sir.
Hey, we spoke early this summer. I've got the 1987 Buick Regal limited edition 3.8 turbo.
Oh, yeah.
With the stage 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So shortly after I spoke with you, the car was developing a lot of oil leaks about 4 years ago when I did this whole rebuild on the car.
Got it.
Anyway, so with all the oil leaks going on, I took it into my shop, and they basically took the whole thing pretty much apart and resealed the engine, went with Felpro gaskets, and we put Cometic gaskets for the heads and so forth, because the guys that had done the rebuilds, I found out, had used a lot of cork gaskets, which was not what it was represented as, but it was beyond warranty, being over 4 years ago. So, I didn't have much choice but to move on.
Got it.
Here's my situation. On cold start, the engine surges in RPM for about 45 seconds or so, and then it smooths down. I mean, low to high RPM, surging up and down for about 45 seconds, and then it smooths out nicely. The IAC looks good. I've got a Scan Master on the car, so you can read everything the computer's saying.
Right.
Everything looks normal. And I'm not a technician, but I'm just saying.
Well, and in that particular case, that's all in what we call open loop, which is all a pre-programmed setting. So it's not reading any of those other things anyways at that point in time. So even though the scan, your scan device might say some things, it's not using that information to actually control any of the fuel trim or timing or anything in that cold start, side of the fence. So you've got something that's not correct in the cold start circuit or the cold start, mapping, if you would, that's making that do that, because all the sensors and everything are really out of the loop at that point in time. They're not doing anything.
Right. I figured it was it's out of loop. So I figured, but after 40, I pretty much timed it 40. I have an LT1 mass air meter, which has a little box inside that basically you can adjust fuel trims from the idle and also wide open throttle.
Okay.
and I've gone through that, and gone up and down the clicks.
And again, that's not in that. Again, that's all pre-programmed mapping in that particular time that it's starting, so that's not going to have any effect on that, anyways.
Okay, I was just wondering, because since they put something in there for idle compared to wide open throttle, I thought maybe it would affect it.
No, that's only going to affect it in closed loop.
So how do you diagnose something that's in open loop and it lasts for about a minute and then it smooths out nicely?
What I would be looking at is make sure you don't have any vacuum leaks, anything along those lines, because typically what will happen is, because it's a pre-programmed setting in the cold start mode, it only has a certain amount of adjustments it's actually making. Then what happens is, once it goes into closed loop, it's reading all of the sensors, adjusting the fuel trim, timing, and it will compensate for a slight vacuum leak. For let's say it has one, it will compensate for that, but it's not doing that when it's in that open loop.
Okay, but it's not going to reach closed loop in a minute, is it?
It could.
It could?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay, I didn't think it was that quick.
It depends on how warm everything is outside. So the colder we get outside, does it take longer, or is it all 45 seconds?
Yeah, it's about 45 seconds in this cooler weather.
Okay.
I just got the car back about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you haven't checked. You haven't been able to check it when it's actually warmer outside either.
No,
so what's it do when the engine's completely warmed up and you restart it? Does it hunt like that?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't hunt at all. I mean, it's just after about a minute, and that's why I have to start all over again.
I would, again, I'm in Dorsey, just agreed. I'd still look for a vacuum leak if it were me. And it could be that something has, got a slight crack, a slight hole. I mean, I don't think you're looking for a big vacuum leak. I mean, again, a big one would even affect it when it's actually in the closed loop. But at this point in time, knowing you just got it back, and it's done that ever since, I'm guessing there's a small leak, a port open, a cracked hose, something along those lines.
Right. That makes sense. Well, listen, let me just tell you what's going on. I'm going to, after I figure this out, who knows how long it'll take to figure it out. You had mentioned on the phone that you might be interested in the car.
Yeah.
I just experienced a family tragedy.
Oh, that's too bad.
Where I lost my wife, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm going to move on with older cars. So if I can't figure this out, I mean, I live way down in Littleton. I mean, down like 470 in Kipling.
Okay.
Is this something that you feel? I know you're all the way up in Boulder, and you have ties to your old company.
I do, and actually still have ties. Geno's isn't that far from you. We've got more than enough ability to help you get that thing, taken care of. And if you go to sell it, either I myself, I've got a lot of family members, lots of people I know. If I'm not personally interested in it, I know lots of people that would be. I can help you on that side of the fence.
That would be nice, because selling a classic car is. It's just maybe more stress than I'm willing to deal with right now.
I can fully understand that. I'd be more than willing to help you out, Ray.
That'd be great. So, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll, I can contact Steve. I know Steve at Geno's.
Yep,
I haven't
good
been
guy.
there much, but I know him. I'll run this by Steve.
Okay.
And as far as
and if you decide to sell, please let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help you.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do. I just need to move on. I need to get it out of the garage and represent it as it is. So, because it's a great car. I've had it for about 18 years.
Yeah, they're great cars.
But I'm just kind of done right now.
I hear you. I hear you.
know?
Well, Ray, let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. I'd be happy to help you. Sorry, really am sorry for your loss. I mean that sincerely. Whatever we can do to help you, we'd love to.
Thanks. And I'm going to keep it in the family. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Ray.
Right.
All right, man. I appreciate it very much. Keep me posted. I'll help you out however I can. Let's take a real quick break. We'll come right back. Rob, auto insurance question. We'll take care of that as soon as we come back. Don't go away. Couple lines open. 303-477-5600. And yeah, Ray, in closing, man, anytime we lose a family member, that is tough. So Ray, our heart goes out to you. We'll help you any way we possibly can. Again, you know how to reach me. You can go right to our website, drive-radio.com, fill out the contact page, get it back to me, and we'll help you out however we can. We'll be right back.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store. where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continuing
10 seconds.
Throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Thanks for joining us today. We got a little over half an hour left of the show today. Coming up next, Sportsmen of Colorado. They're going to be live out at No Limits Archery. So we'll have Scott Watley join us here in a little bit and explain what's going on there. Sounds like there's going to be some free food, so definitely worth stopping by and checking things out. And if you're an archer, you'll love it. And you know what? If you're not an archer, go check it out anyways. There's nothing more fun, at least to me personally, than shooting a bow and arrow. It's a blast.
Crossbow.
And you can do them, think about that. You can have a small backyard and still go out and have a lot of fun and not have to worry about, making anybody mad by firing a gun. It's great. Works out really well. So it's a great sport. So if you haven't done that, go out there and check it out. Rob, you're next, sir.
Hey, John. It's kind of maybe a dumb question, but I was wondering, do people get rid of their comprehensive and collision insurance on an older car? Is there a general rule of thumb of when you're supposed to do that and go to liability?
Whenever you feel like if you lose that entire car, you can pay for it out of your pocket to replace it. That's the rule of thumb. That's my rule of thumb anyways.
Okay. Well,
so in other words, let's say a car gets to be worth $5,000. You can anything right. Let's do it this way. Anything running right now, no matter what its age, if it's running, it's in good condition. It'll go from point A to point B. Looks halfway decent. Has a halfway decent interior. Will pass emissions. It's pretty easy to get $200 to $2,500 out of that car today. So if I use that example, would I personally carry full collision or even comprehensive on that car? No, because I could go write a check for $2,500 for another one tomorrow. Now, if you're somebody that has a hard time writing a $2,500 check to go buy another car tomorrow, you better carry comprehensive and full coverage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So it's really, it really is dependent upon, you and your bank account. I know some guys that, car gets to be worth around 10 grand and they've got enough wherewithal to where if they want to go out and write a check for 10K to replace the car, they take their chances. They may carry comprehensive on it in case it gets hail damaged or something like that. And it's fairly inexpensive, but they'll drop the full coverage on the collision side. Just depends on you and your pocketbook. And if it's paid for, by the way. If it's got a lien on it, you got to carry full coverage. Make sense? I think I lost Rob. He may have been on a cell phone. I think I explained that well enough, though. So that's when you would, personally, that's when I would drop.
do.
Is that what, rule of thumb? That's what I do with my fleet trucks. If they get old enough to where it's like, well, okay, if we lost that truck, could we go replace it? If we could, I carry a really high deductible. So if it gets to the point where it's like, wait a minute, I'm going to pay this much for my deductible. Why am I paying, why am I carrying, full coverage on, another $1,500, $2,000 above that? I might as well just get rid of it.
You got a $2,500 truck and your deductible's
$2,500, you might as well call it good.
Yeah.
Why bother? So that's how you look at that. At least that's what I would do. Don is up next. Don, welcome, sir.
Hi, guys. That was quick.
What can we do for you, sir?
Yeah, I have a 2010 F-150, and it's just ready to roll over 75,000. It's still under the extended warranty. And I wondered what your opinion is on buying an extended warranty beyond that.
Don't. Waste of money.
Don't waste of money?
I wouldn't have bought an original extended warranty.
Well, it saved my butt.
Yeah, well.
I only paid $1,400 for the warranty, and it's.
And what did you have done underneath that?
Well, I had a transmission problem. I had a right exhaust manifold just replaced that warped and was leaking.
Okay.
I had the blend door actuator just replaced. That would have been $200. I had all the linkage inside the driver's door fell apart when it was just over 36,000. So
okay,
they fixed that. So I might have broke even, but
yeah, probably. And here's what we typically say. And I think you're a good example. If you'd have taken the same $1,400, put that in a bank account, pulled out of that when you needed to, some of the repairs you just mentioned, by the way, if you had pushed the dealer hard enough, you probably could have got fixed anyways. The manifold, for example, they're fixing a lot of those under warranty, even on the higher miles, because they've been a problem. The blend door, you probably would have had to pay for yourself, and the driver's door, but the other problems, even the transmission, you probably could have got those handled under the original warranty anyways. Again, our rule of thumb is take the money you would normally spend on an extended warranty, put that in a separate bank account, and chances are you'll have money left over when it's said and done.
Okay. And another question on the plugs on that. They're recommending 100,000 miles.
No, don't go more than about 70.
Okay. Now,
change them now.
Well, I'm at 74.5. So if I take it into the dealer now and pay them to do it, they want $400.
No, take it into one of our Colorado Select facilities, drive down the mountain, go to one of our Colorado Select facilities, have them do it. You'll save money and get just the same job.
And even if they break a plug coming out?
They'll still take care of it.
They will. For the same price that they're going to charge.
Same price a dealer would. Probably less, actually.
Okay, well, the dealer says if you pay us the $400, it doesn't matter if we break a plug or whatever.
Oh, and they're full of crap. They'll charge you if they break a plug.
Yeah.
I don't know what if they spend a bunch of extra time pulling a plug out of the head. You're darn right they're going to charge you. That
That's
technician's not going to do that for free.
Yeah, if those plugs break, that's really hard to get.
I don't know who's telling you that. A service advisor, somebody's telling you that, and he's blowing smoke because if they get in there and they break a plug, they're going to get on the phone and say, Don, guess what? We broke a plug. Your price is now going to be X.
So at 75,000, it's going to be less of a problem than 100,000.
You won't have any problems now. That's probably why they're telling you that. Just get it done at one of our facilities.
Okay.
You'll drop down into Littleton there with, you're not that far out of there. Go to Geno's or Tilden. They'll take care of you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Don. Appreciate the phone call. George, you're next. What's going on, sir?
I have an 05 Silverado, 162,000 miles on it. I do not remember this truck riding so damn rough when I first got it.
Okay.
And I have put new shocks on it, put new tires.
Is it a half ton, 3/4 ton? What is it?
Half ton extended cab 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
And it's to the point of my wife is getting car sick. She's doesn't want to be in it.
Okay, so what you've done shocks, you've done tires, anything else?
Not really. It's got the torsion bar front suspension on it. I don't know. Does anything wear out on those torsion bars.
What's your mileage? What kind of miles do you have on it?
162.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. 162.
There's a lot of things could be worn out at that point.
Yeah. The torsion bars themselves don't typically wear out, but you've got control arm bushings, you've got sway bar bushings, you've got bushings inside the springs themselves. When you did the tires and the shocks, let's start there. What tires did you put back on it?
I have Michelin Mud and Snows.
Okay, load rating D, I'm assuming.
I have to check on that.
And that's worth checking because if you went to a heavier tire, heavier sidewall tire, for example, it'll make the tire last longer, but it will stiffen up the ride. And shock absorbers being changed, depending upon what shock you went to, could also give you a harsher ride.
Well, I had a heavier duty shock, and I changed them back out, but it didn't seem to help much.
Okay. I would look at tires very closely, and to Dorsey's point, look at all the suspension. Those really aren't a real rough riding truck. In fact, out of the lineup, those are about as smooth as any of them out there with the torsion bar front end. So,
well, I just did a trip down east on I-70, and with my pickup, I mean, it rides rougher than hell. And then I'm driving my company vehicle, which is a newer Chevy van, and it rides pretty darn smooth. I was like, wait a minute, something's going on here.
Yeah, and of course the van is a full, regular two-wheel drive, independent suspension front, and different weight configuration, and probably has P-Series tires on it. It's going to ride a lot different than what your truck is. Period. Even new for new. With that said, that truck of yours should ride better than it is.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking you guys questions. What about air pressures?
That can affect it too, and that's why I say the heavier the tire,
the air pressure
that's right.
goes up.
That's right. Your air pressure is higher, which is going to make it ride rougher.
Okay, so I need to go back to discount and have them see if we can do some.
They might have put some D or E rating tires on it.
If it's got E's, it's really going to ride rough.
Yeah,
and you can look at that yourself. Just look at the sidewall, and it'll tell you whether it's a load range, C, D, or E. And if it's an E, that's a 10-ply tire. It's a great tire as far as longevity goes, but it's definitely going to ride rougher.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll go that route.
Okay. I'm guessing that most of that's probably in the tires, Doris.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's amazing and that's why a lot of pickup trucks come with P-Series tires to begin with. A lot of them did.
That's what I was going to say. He should have had P-Series to cut off the factory floor, and it's going to make it ride a lot nicer.
Yeah, real cushy. They don't last as long. They're not as stiff.
One yesterday that rode really soft, but it had P-Metrics on it.
Yeah, you get P-Series tires, it'll ride really nice, but they don't last as long, can't haul as much with the truck. But if you're looking for ride quality, that's what you do. All right, let's do this. Another segment coming up. Don't go away. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
Your car's fuel economy was never better than when it was new. But time and miles have robbed your car of its MPG and performance. Service managers recommend BG44K to remove carbon and restore mileage in just one tank of fuel. In fact, dealerships nationwide use BG44K almost 3-to-1 over any other product. To find a shop at BG Products, go to bgfindashop.com.
BG. Can you imagine selling your car next week and saying to the buyer, hey, don't worry, because the engine is covered against failure for life? It's called the Lifetime Protection Plan for the Engine from BG Products. Now imagine having this huge benefit free with your next oil service when you remember these two letters, BG. BGMOA is available at over 20,000 shops nationwide. Find yours at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important during winter is to be prepared for anything. Keep an emergency kit with an ice scraper, jumper cables, flashlight, flares, blanket, extra clothes, candles with matches, bottled water, but especially any medication you cannot go without. And if you ever have any questions about your vehicle's performance, take it to any Colorado Select Car Care Center and they'll help you. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
John Rush here. Want to talk to you again about pets, your pet in particular. But maybe you know somebody that has pets, but you have no idea where to direct them when there's some sort of an issue. Well, guess what? Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, they are open every day of the year, including holidays. They run special hours on those days. They've got an emergency phone number. So this isn't one of those clinics where it's an 8 to 5 sort of a deal. But no, they do the whole 9 yards, including pet boarding. So, David, I know you've got a big dog, correct?
I do, a 3.5-year-old Alaskan.
Ever had to board him?
Not so far. We only adopted him about a year ago.
Okay, so I've got a place for you. If you and your wife have to go out of town, there's no family, no one else to watch, you have family at Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center. They'll actually take care of your dog just like you would.
That's great. They would have to be very special because he's a special guy.
Well, normally, again, this is a great center. It's 2 stories. They've got a full basement underneath where they do the grooming, swim therapy. They've got a full, by the way, on the upstairs level, they've got a full medical center where they do surgeries, the whole 9 yards. They have got this deal figured out, everything from digital x-rays to ultrasounds to laparoscopic surgery. They've got it covered. Doesn't matter what it is. Anything you need, they can take care of. But when it comes to the boarding side of the fence, David, they'll do the whole 9 yards, and I've been there, I've seen it, and guess what? It doesn't smell like the typical kennel that you would normally walk into.
That's nice, and it's also nice to know that they can handle a large breed dog.
And they can handle it for every day. Let's say you wanted to do daycare. They'll do that, or if you're going to go out of town for the next 3 weeks, they'll take care of that also. So anything you need, Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center is the place to go to. It's 303-708-8050. Call them today, or you can visit them online at lonetreevet.com.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496.
10 seconds, guys.
Website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, along with Dorsey Johnson from Arvada West. We've got Gerald, I think, who is up next. Welcome, sir.
Good to speak to you. I've got a real quick dumb question.
There's no such thing.
Well, winter is coming, and I am sick of getting out to thaw out the rear wiper on the car with my bare hands to get it working again. And I'm curious, does anybody make a good blade for the rear window of a car?
It is a really good, that's not a dumb question. That's a great question because I've experienced the exact same thing over the years.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like most of them make one was still the old carriage type.
They're junk.
Blade, yeah.
They're just crap. They really are. They're all, to answer your question, I don't believe so. They're all junk. The only thing I've seen that really helps with those is Napa makes a really good high quality windshield washer solvent where if you use that, it tends to keep things, much cleaner and it's got more alcohol or whatever you want to call it that's mixed in with it that keeps it from freezing as easy. And it just seems to work a lot better. It's kind of a purplish color. Napa sells it. It's about twice as much as you'll pay for the regular blue fluid, but man, it's worth every penny.
Okay, that might be worth a shot. Because, your hands go numb, and then your hands are filthy, and it's like, it's great. My wife just said, well, just don't use it. It's back there, yes, but it doesn't work, so just ignore it.
Yeah.
Well, but I'd like it to work.
Yeah, you're like me. If it's there, you want to be able to, use it and try it. And now, something else you can try, and this works on all wiper blades, is it's good to keep them, lubricated with like some sort of a vinyl dressing, Armor All, something along those lines, which actually keeps the rubber a lot more pliable. The other thing that you're running into on the back that you don't get as much on the front is the salt and mag chloride tends to build up more on the back of the vehicle than it does the front. So the more you can keep that thing cleaned off and lubricated, the better you are.
Yeah. It's like, with the front, you run winter blades or a beam type blade, and you just don't worry about it. It works great.
Correct.
So, okay. Well, thank you for your time, sir.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Speaking of wiper blades, I saw at SEMA show this last week, and I got to get some demos on these. So I'm going to try to figure this out. I saw the most sophisticated, because there's been a lot of heated wiper blades in the past.
Yeah, the guy wanted me to be a distributor for him one time.
I found a blade that a guy has built that is the best heated wiper blade I've ever seen. And if he doesn't end up selling this to the manufacturers and have it installed on a lot of new cars as an option, I will be surprised if that doesn't happen in the next 5 years. And why do I say that? Because this guy has figured out a way to put an element right down the top of the actual rubber blade itself. He's not heating the arm, he's heating the blade. Never seen that done before. He's literally designed an insert with a hole all the way down it that the heating element runs right down the top of the actual wiper blade itself. So it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Because you know what I'm talking about. Typically they've done the upper part of the blade itself, and they try to do the radiant heat to go down in. Well, this guy's actually starting from the bottom, working the way up, and literally when you grab the whole arm, everything is warm because the way he's done it. Really slick. I'll get more information on that and have more of that here in the future. Wanted to wait for SEMA show to get over, let these guys get home a little bit, and then I'll converse with him. But he was heading back up to the following week. Next week, they're going to Quebec, I believe, to install about 45 sets on school buses up there. The actual, some school district bought them, and they're going to go install them. And this is a Canadian company, which you know how cold it gets up north. So he's like, this is really, and I said, do these things work? He's like, oh man. He's like, we've been selling these things for a while and developing them and working on them. And he had a demo there where you actually grab the blade and feel it. He said, here, let me show you why these work. And so he actually took an insert out and said, here's why they work. I'm like, why didn't somebody think of that a long time ago? It's awesome. It's got an element that runs right down the middle of the blade. And of course, technology has enabled things to get smaller and sleeker and work better now than they used to. But man, what a great idea. So yeah, I'll have more information on that as time comes out. We'll talk more about some of the other things I found at SEMA. That was one of the few booths I could actually stop in and talk to that didn't have 5 million people. And I thought, this is a better booth than the rest of them. I mean, this is stuff everybody could use every day of the week. And it's one of those things where it's sort of like, cruise control and delay wipe. It won't be long before some of the manufacturers say, okay, sell us a use right or whatever. And we'll pay you a fee every time we sell one of these on a new car. You do that, you can just collect a check, I think.
Yeah.
Works out pretty well.
That'd be nice.
Unless you're the guy that had to sue GM and Ford over the original delay wipe.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie? No. There's a movie about that. I'll get you the name of it, Doris. It's actually worth watching. It walks you through the whole story of the guy that invented the delay wipe system. GM stole it, and he took him years and years to go through enough lawsuits to finally get them to pay up. And basically, he was financially, ruined, and just worked so hard trying to get that taken care of. And they literally stole his idea. And those guys did that back then. Actually, they'll do it today if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Tool guys will do it. The big manufacturers will do it. They'll steal those ideas. Don't kid yourself. Never show a good idea to a big corporation. Unless you know you're going to have something in writing saying you're going to get some sort of a feedback, because they'll steal it in a heartbeat. I see that at SEMA every year. Yeah, happens a lot.
Wow.
More than anybody thinks. So, all right, lines open 303-477-5600. One thing somebody emailed in earlier about is this new tire law, chain law, all these different things that we've talked about, are those going to have an effect upon the Eastern Plains? Larry thinks no. Dorsey thinks no. I tend to agree with both of them. I don't think it's going to. No. So if you're on the Eastern Plains, I don't think this is going to apply.
Not this year, anyway.
Now, am I right or not?
Weather's tougher out there. Like we were talking about the wind factor and stuff and road icing. They're more apt to just shut it down.
Okay, got an email in also. I'll finish this up before we go to our next break. Jay writes this. I have a 2010 Ford F-150, have had zero things go wrong with my truck. You're right, extended warranties are a waste of money. In most cases, they are. Concerning your oil change discussion, I don't trust most oil change facilities to put in what they say they are putting in. I had a Ford dealership say they put full synthetic in, and my pickup immediately dropped a mile to the gallon, and the oil was black in 3,000 miles. When I changed it with full synthetic, neither of things happened again. Thanks. And well, Jim, that's why we tell you go to one of our Caller Select facilities. If you've ever got a question of what they're putting in, they'll walk you out, show you the bottle, show you the container, whatever. If you've ever got a question of what's going on, real easy to figure it out, and they'll take care of it. That's why I recommend that highly. Highly.
Yep.
Go to somebody you trust that you know is going to stand behind it. They'll show you what's going on. And in today's world, there's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to oil. You better make sure that whatever they're putting in your vehicle is the right oil, because you can no longer take one or two oils and fill everything.
Yeah, the weights and ratings have a big effect on cylinder rings and stuff like that now.
Yep. Well,
which relates to friction, which relates to get miles per gallon and wear.
Yep. At one time, Dorsey, you and I, you could stock about 2 oils and handle most everything on the road. 3. You could have, one time you'd stock 1040, 2050, and a straight weight, and you had everything covered. It was out on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you need 10 to even get started. I'm not exaggerating in that. 10 different types of oil on the shelf to even start to get there.
10 or 12.
Yep.
We've got 6 proprietary oils in bulk and at least another 6 different types on the shelf.
Yep. It's amazing. So, all right. We got some lines open. Call us. We got one more segment left. 303-477-5600. Beautiful Saturday afternoon drive radio. Scott Watley is out at No Limits Archery. He's going to be calling in here in just a few minutes to talk about what's going on there. And I believe they're going to give you free lunch. So we'll find out more about that here in just a minute. Don't go away. John Rush, Dorsey Johnson, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Life has consequences, and a consequence of a poorly maintained fleet of work vehicles is the unfortunate timing of a breakdown. Your customers are counting on you, and one breakdown could be a deal breaker for the customer your driver was trying to reach. Maybe that customer has clients of his own who are demanding an explanation, and so on. How long do you expect to be in business when your customers think you are unreliable? Your solution? Tilden Total Car Care. Using state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet, Tilden can actually anticipate maintenance items before they become major repairs or ultimately breakdowns. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden Total Car Care today and ask about their fleet maintenance program. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can, as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Inglewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important this time of year is to check your filters. Air filters are easy, but you also need to check your fuel and transmission filters, and it's best to have a qualified technician do that. Any Colorado Select Car Care Center can check your filters and give your car a quick winter safety inspection. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is they would have preferred to do the
About 15 seconds, guys.
Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the driveline.
No, Larry put that call on hold.
Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Dorsey Johnson along with me. So a great caller. I love when people listen and help us out. Don emailed and said, movie is Flash of Genius, Dorsey, that you need to watch. So if you haven't seen that, you need to go watch it. And I have. It's one of those movies that, I don't think my wife really cared much about it, but I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. I liked it a lot because it had a lot of car stuff, and it was an inventor that basically got taken advantage of. And took him years and years and years to to regain what he had lost in that. So, very, very good story. It's worth watching. I'm sure it's probably on Amazon or Netflix or something. I don't know. Go find it. Go rent it. Whatever. Yeah, it'll be out there. Shoot, by now it might be on YouTube for all we know.
I was thinking that it might be on YouTube.
Who knows? All right. So when do we want to bring Scott on? Is he ready? 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute, we'll get him ready. All right, so we'll find out from Scott what's going on out at No Limits Archery. Okay, so to kind of follow up on our tire deal, here's a few facts, some traffic facts when it comes to tires. At 60 miles an hour on snowy pavement, winter tires require 310 feet to stop. All-season tires may require more than double that, 668 feet.
Yep.
Big difference between the two.
People on your bumper think they're going to stop in 50 feet.
They're not. In 2014, one of the worst traffic delays on the I-70 mountain corridor was caused by unprepared motorists. Several delays were caused by 22 vehicles spinning out and causing crashes. 19 of those vehicles had worn out tires.
Yep.
19 of the 22. Worn out tires. Go figure. All right, Scott Watley's now going to be with us. Scott, welcome. What's going on, man?
Hey, John. We got a jam-packed house here at No Limits Archery, and we're at 3050 East 78th Avenue. So the way I came is the only way I can tell you to get here. So I-25 and 70th, and then you want to turn east and go to York. And at York, you go north to 78th, turn right on 78th, and we're just down at the end of the dead end.
Awesome.
Here. And it's a beautiful new building.
Sounds like Dorsey and I and Larry can stop and have lunch on the way home.
Absolutely, man. I told them to keep you guys some hot dogs and burgers warm.
There we go.
They're giving away bows. They're giving away a lot arrows. They're giving away packs. They're giving away Yeti coolers. They're giving away a lot of
Yeti cooler.
Yep.
Now that's worth stopping in for all by itself.
Absolutely.
If you guys
No.
out there listening don't know what a Yeti cooler is, let me tell you what. It is the Cadillac
Yes.
of coolers, isn't it, Scott?
Absolutely.
Expensive.
No,
They are
it really
nice.
is.
I got
And a lot of-
I got a Yeti 110 for my birthday not long ago. I haven't tried it out yet, Scott, but I'm telling you what, that is the cooler of all coolers.
Absolutely. I need to get one. So
They're awesome.
I can see. And a lot of reps out here from Hoyt, Mountain Ops, Easton, Cafaro, Pax. And I tell you, and there's a lot of kids out here. And Phil, we're going to have him on to talk about, but he does a special program for kids out here. And just a terrific place. A lot of families out here together today. So
Very cool.
We'd love to meet some Drive Radio fans and KLZ fans and Sportsman of Colorado fans. So
That's
come see
awesome.
us.
So what are you guys going to talk about today besides the event itself?
You know, Phil's going to just kind of talk about getting into archery and give us some tips for those folks that may want to get into archery and what you need to look at in purchasing your equipment. And then for the more experienced, we'll go into a little bit deeper that. And then we've actually got some female archers that are going to come on, talk about what it has meant to them to do this, and then just archery hunting in general.
Cool. Very, very cool. Awesome. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate it. It's No Limits Archery. Again, it's 3050 East 78th Avenue, and we'd love to see you.
That's awesome, Scott. Have fun, man.
All right, John.
All right,
Thanks,
see you
man.
next week. Good talking to you. And that is No Limits Archery. And as I said earlier, if you've never done archery, you're missing out. It's a blast. So little Yeti cooler story. Reason why I asked for one of those for my birthday not long ago is I do some barbecuing now. Smoking, I guess I should say, not barbecuing, but smoking. So a lot of times when you do some sort of meat on the grill, whether it's pulled pork or what have you, you've got to let the meat rest. And typically they want you to rest it inside of a cooler to where you don't lose a lot of temperature. So I did a little test on this. I don't know when this was. Not my brother had a Yeti that he was traveling through with, and so I thought, let's do a little test on this thing. So I had some meat, got it all done. Got it all taken care of, and needed it to rest for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I took this thing, left it in the pan, covered it with foil, dropped it in my brother's Yeti cooler, and in 2 hours, it only dropped 15 degrees. In 2 hours. That's a good cooler.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really good. And I'm confident you could have left that thing in there and had it piping hot when you pulled it out. I could have left it in there another couple of hours, and it still would have been ready to go. Now, it'll do the opposite when it comes to keeping ice in the cooler for X amount of time. So my brother, once we were done, cleaned it all out. He put all of his stuff back in it, put some ice in it. We had ice in that thing for like 3 days straight, and it really had very little water in the bottom of the cooler. They're awesome. Somebody like you,
amazing.
You should have a Yeti. I should be a salesman for Yeti.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe we get him as a sponsor. Now there we're talking Yeti coolers as a sponsor of Drive Radio. Let's get one more call in before we end the day out. Nikki, you are next. What's going on?
Hi, John. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Okay, I got a 2005 Pontiac Vibe manual transmission, and I'm just wondering what is like a good baseline on changing the transmission fluid in those gearboxes. And as far as that goes, I got a pickup too, like changing the rear differential. How many miles?
Well, okay, so let's go last to first. What pickup are you driving?
Well, I have a 94 Toyota.
Okay. That one I would change. I would change the fluid net about every 40 to 50K.
With synthetic fluid?
Yes, full synthetic. That's what it's going to be required for the Toyota. Now,
right, that's what I use.
Yeah, use full synthetic. That's what you want to do in it. Now, on the Vibe, that's a full transaxle, so you've got a little more moving parts in that than you do on the truck. Dorsey, I'll get your opinion too, but I would do that one probably at every 40 to 50K.
Yeah, that'd be sufficient.
Okay. Well,
that one's going to take a synthetic fluid too.
Got it.
I'm sorry?
That one's going to take a synthetic fluid too.
Right. Well, I actually purchased this stuff from AMSOIL.
Okay.
And it was supposed to have been, it was like a trucker fluid that said it was like 500,000 mile fluid.
Is it the right grade, weight, everything for the Vibe?
Well, no, because then I discovered that they came out with a new fluid for the Vibe. I mean, that worked in the Vibe that specifically called for it.
Which you would need to use.
Which I changed. Yeah, I changed that because I don't know. It had something to do with the screws in it made out of whatever material.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you get on those particular transaxles, you want to be very specific to use the oil that's required.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so like 50,000 on the Vibe and 50,000 on the Toyota pickup.
On your truck. Yep, you'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Now the pickup, the front rear differential, the transfer case, and the transmission, all those at 50,000.
Yeah, you'd be okay with that. Yeah, you'd be fine with that.
Okay, can I ask another quick question?
You know what? I wish you could. You have to call us next week because I'm running out of time for today's show. Scott's coming up next.
All right.
But I appreciate the phone call, Nikki. So thank you so much. I got a few closing things I got to get rid of, or say, I should say, not get rid of, but say. And we'll be back next week. So Dorsey Jonathan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
Phone number for people to reach you during the week.
303-422-1065.
All right. Mindy, thanks so much on the other side of the glass. And Larry Unger from Larry's Automotive and Transmission. You can find him at 303-428. I just lost it. 2108. Give them a call. They'll take care of you. And by the way, you can look up Dorsey and Larry both on Drive Radio's website. It's drive-radio.com, drive-radio.com. And we've got a whole new website there. Go check it out. All right. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place for Drive Radio. I will be back on Monday with Rush to Reason at 3 o'clock. I would hope you listen each day during your drive home. We'll be back then. God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. And most of all, drive safely. Enjoy your weekend. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com.